greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. I am your host, Phil Marks of Pro Wrestle Times, of course, and we are live here on YouTube with the replay airing wherever you listen to podcasts. Use the RSS feed link in the description below to add the show to your podcast players if you can't find it in search, and be sure to hit the like and subscribe or heart or retweet buttons on YouTube and X. Share this around. I appreciate it. If you'd like to support this show, you guys can like and subscribe, like I said, or consider super chatting in or becoming a channel member. I will be responding to those, not just at the end of the show, but throughout the show. You know, waiting till the end just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed off, right? Like an hour fucking later. But questions and whatnot, save them for the end of the show. Tonight, we have Dave Meltzer's Lies and Bias on display. Okay. We have him getting swerved by Vince Russo, which we talked about a bit before on PWT Live Show, which goes live every Wednesday and Saturday night. But we're going to talk about it more and get Dave's reaction to being swerved and duped. And we have Dave Meltzer comparing Dirty Dom in AAA to Stone Cold in the Attitude Era. Of course, I am Phil Marks, and this is everybody's favorite segment. So nice that now it happens live on Thursday nights, and it has its own show and its own podcast, and it is called Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a bit to get to tonight. It won't be like a 3-hour Dave Mel. Well, maybe, who knows? Depends how badly I want to make fun of this fool, right? But we have quite the show. We have Dave getting called out for lies. We previewed it before, and what we're going to start with is Dave Meltzer just arguing with people. And then we have a bunch of clips to get into, but he's just arguing with a bunch of people, coping over the fact that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and he's very biased, and he's lied, and all of these things. And so some of these narratives he's created are starting to collapse around him. And one of these things Dave Meltzer likes to say is, there's storytelling in AEW. The stories are so deep, Bryan, that people just don't understand. Lex Luger doesn't understand the story.
I don't know.
Neither does anyone else. The stories are so deep. They go so deep within me. So Dave Meltzer responds to this person here who says too many matches on AEW pay-per-views. And again, he's responding like, look, this person, Stephen Lee, is responding to like 4 people, like 4 sickos. Dave found this out of nowhere and then is like, I'm going to bury this random mark who doesn't like AEW, and then I'm going to fucking block him probably after. It's probably what Dave did. So Stephen Lee goes, too many matches on AEW pay-per-views, main event lacking due to too many titles, low record ratings and attendance, and the big one, no storytelling, are criticisms. Right? And then Dave Meltzer goes, no storytelling means you don't even watch the show. Just telling this guy he doesn't watch AEW because he has fair criticism.
Poor people don't like AEW.
And the other thing, too, is that this guy listed like 5 things, and then Dave just zeroed in on one thing. and then went, well, actually, except Batman, right? I'm going as Batman for Halloween, Bryan. I'm going as Phil Marks for Halloween. And so Dave Meltzer, he is like, you don't even watch the show. It's like, bro, David, he's just such a dumb fuck. And again, I quote tweeted this before. My response might even be embedded somewhere within this segment, but I believe it is. But this guy responds to Dave, and he's like, I've watched AEW good enough that there's no storytelling. I mean, this guy's not good at writing in general, so it's easy to pick on this guy, and that's why Dave avoids motherfuckers like me, but he'll like pick on this guy who doesn't, I don't read good, right? Simple Jack over here. No, shout out Stephen Lee. But Cody, that's when everything went downhill for AEW. Heck, I'll be nice and say since Punk was in AEW, Wrestle Dream was my first AEW pay-per-view in 2 or 3 years, good matches yet, whatever. He just doesn't like it. And so Dave goes, you don't watch it means you don't even watch. Is that what it means, Dave, or does it mean you're just a shill and you're personally offended by this because you fucking love AEW? So Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno, tells Dave that he needs to learn, baby, learn.
Baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
And he says, it's Kermit the Frog here. It's poor storytelling. If you miss a show or two, they don't care to fill. I have a terrible Kermit. I admit it. I crushed. I fucking debuted my Maven impression the other day. Crushed. This one, not so much. I gotta like set it up by doing Kermit first. But Disco just says, two, they don't care to fill you in on the details of what the story is with video packages. People like you that watch every minute of every show with photographic memory can't comprehend this obvious fact. It's not even that, Disco, because he only watches AEW like that. He doesn't watch like WWE the way he watches AEW. And so Eric Bischoff had shit to say about we covered this before, right? Like Eric Bischoff was talking about like people fantasize to be a part of the business. The most obvious of these cases is Dave Meltzer. Between his delusional takes, desperate need to convince people he has access to inside information, he's more a comedian at this point than a source. Hey, that's my job. No, grateful that social media and access to real info has exposed him. It's entertaining to watch. That it is, good sir. There's podcasts about it, I've heard. So Dave Meltzer says, Eric, actually, I don't know if you knew this, but many people told me, many people told me you have a show on Saturday. Shouldn't you be promoting your wrestlers? Instead of talking that you've got the pro debut of the greatest women wrestler in U.S. history. Dave, here's the problem. You talk shit all the time about him. So what do you expect he's going to do? You talk shit all the time. You fantasy mark book Conan getting fired. You're like, Eric Bischoff doing this show. Outdraw AEW then. He did. Outdraw Conan. You're a booker. Do better than Tony Khan then. He is. You talked all this shit. So they're going to barb back and slap you around. Plus, it's trendy to make fun of Dave. Woman wrestler in U.S. history. I'll do your job for you here. You're stuck in a weird obsession that dooms your happiness. Think about what type of projection and like how like he has this visceral feeling to come up with shit like you're stuck in a weird obsession that dooms your happiness. Bro, Dave, you fantasy mark booked Conan getting fired. Literally, he was getting inducted into a Hall of Fame. You lied and said he wasn't on the commentary team. And then you fantasy mark booked, well, maybe he's fired. Maybe he's done after this. With a smile on your face. You don't get to talk about weird obsessions. We're all weirdly obsessed with pro wrestling. That's one thing for sure. You don't get to be a lol cow and then call people weirdly obsessed. Though. You don't get to do that, bro. You're the fucking clown. We're milking you for laughs. Your reaction is funny. Okay? And this is a funny projection reaction here. It dooms your happiness. I think Bischoff's pretty happy. I think you're miserable Whenever you're talking WWE, you sound fucking miserable. Okay? Anyone with half a brain sees through you, and you're stuck playing to the most naive. Dave, you have 50% off fire sales every month. And he wonders why that's a bad idea. Hey, we have this product here. Everybody who buys in early, it's worth $14.99 but if you sign up now, though, you get half off, and that lasts until, well, I mean, it's just going to be half off for a while. But you guys who pay the full price, you all just pay the full price still. You know, doing fire sales and shit. Like, Dave, you have completely made a joke of yourself. And he sits there and just projects. Anyone with half a brain, you're stuck playing to the most naive. You mean the people still buying into your bullshit and AEW's bullshit? I don't think so, man. But you've got, and take AEW out of it. The people buying into your bullshit, Dave. But you've got to, like, okay, so if this is brain dead, if it's brain dead and naive to listen to someone like Bischoff, then what is it to listen to Dave, who got tricked by a fucking fake fanfic memo in a Fightful Discord? So what is that? What is it when you just lie about these AI stories, or lie about Vince Russo, or lie about people being dead who aren't dead yet? What is that then? It's crazy. This guy's he's just such a prick. But you've got a company to run, and the only people who know the first thing about it in your next show are observer readers. The only people who know about his show and the next show are observer readers. This is what Dave thinks. He's such a condescending fucking
poor people don't like AEW.
And he's so full of shit. So MMA fans, so Bo Nickel fans, Bo Nickel got sunned. He got fucking G-checked. He got fraud checked in his last fight, and they still put him on the next pay-per-view because they know what kind of numbers he does. Not that they're like, oh, Conor McGregor numbers, but like Bo Nickel has a fan base built in. They're putting him on the pay-per-view again, even though people are like, what the fuck? Maybe they should put him on like the, headlining the prelim or whatever. You don't think Bo Nickel brings eyeballs and Holly Holm and Chael Sonnen? Chael Sonnen's YouTube channel that dominates yours, Dave Meltzer, and has for years, dominates you guys. You don't think Chael brings an audience? Oh yeah, only observer readers. There's none of those left, Dave. Dave, you're a pussy, okay? So Nicolo Piccolo says, this is rich, Dave, because I've been doing your job for months while you hide behind a paywall, rewriting your own mythology. You've spent 40 years pretending proximity equals credibility. It doesn't. That's not journalism. It's nostalgia. You're not the conscience of this business. You are the ghost of it, clinging to old feuds, trying to stay relevant off the backs of the people actually building it. Exactly. Dave, Dave is trying to take credit for hyping up amateur wrestling again. Like, he's literally taking credit for that. No. You don't get to do that. You didn't put the dollars down. You didn't fucking, you don't get to do that, buddy. And Nicolo Piccolo says, and now it makes sense why Eric's underlying post hit 269K views and your quote has 396 with 218 retweets, manufactured engagement, fake news. The same as the work you've been selling for decades. Boom, roasted, cooked them. Roasted him. And so Dave Meltzer responds to this person, Meowler, who says, whenever anybody says anything slightly critical of Dave's face on the Superman Captain Savaho here, and then Meltzer goes, you have to lie pretty hard to get a response from me, but there you go. And then I quote tweet and go, that's why Dave doesn't respond to me. I only speak facts. It's just layups, man. It's just layups at this point. So Dave Meltzer, again, he just shills and gets fucking angry and won't respond to Raj Giri. He won't respond to Nicolo Piccolo either. He won't respond to Phil Marks. He'll respond to other people saying what we're saying. And then then he'll like jump on it to get this narrative across, to argue against something, Niccolo Piccolo or myself or Raj Giri said. We've seen this countless times. And so Raj Giri, AEW Neckbeards, post this. AEW Dynamite, they got real grabs. So AEW Dynamite 477, NXT 525, real grabs, clown show, the puppet. It's too easy. And so Raj Giri says, I've got to admit, I thought Dynamite had a great shot at beating NXT in total viewers this week because NXT had much stronger competition, but nope. That's what everybody thought. And then this guy here, Dragon FC, is like, NXT was born with a silver spoon in its mouth, handed an audience on a plate from the pre-existing larger WWE fan base to start with. Man, shut the fuck up. Nobody, like, okay, so when Neville was wrestling Bo Dallas, it was as big as it is now? The fuck you talking about? You guys were all just watching Tyler Black in NXT. Like, shut the fuck up. Nobody saw that shit. It built over time. It even took a lull where AEW was kicking its ass. So to be like, it has a built-in. Okay, so then what's going on with AEW? It just started strong. Where's its built-in Millie? You all cry about the no Millie thing because the reason people did the no Millie is because they started with a Millie. So let's keep doing a Millie. That's what, well, the starting episodes always start stronger. Okay, so it's around a milli. If they were still doing 900,000 viewers, people wouldn't be shitting on it as much. They'd be like, well, it does about 1 million. I mean, SmackDown's doing close to SmackDown. They can't say that, though. They can't say that. You can't say that. You can't make that argument. So again, good for me, not for thee. And then Dave Meltzer goes, this whole comparison is silly. Network versus cable are inherently different. And AEW's rating, half a brain, and AEW's ratings only comprise 63 to 64% of the homes the show is in, while NXT's are 100%. It's like, buddy, you're coping so fucking hard. And this has already been debunked, more or less debunked. And then Raj Giri says, didn't you write this last year? And then he just quotes him. Regarding the power of CW versus USA in 2013, if you take out Raw.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I muted. Sorry about that. So I don't know when I muted there. Muted myself, speaking so colorfully. Okay. Of the homes the show is in, while NXT's are 100%. Okay. And so, meanwhile, Raj Giri responds to this and says, he goes, didn't you write this last year? And then he just hits Dave with a quote. Didn't you write this last year? Yeah, Raj, you know he did. Because he fucking... because he... I'm not still muting. I'm just reading chat. You guys are roasting me. We know he wrote it because this is a fucking quote right here. Okay? And so Raj Giri quotes Dave where he says, regarding the power of CW versus USA in 2013, if you take out Raw and NXT, USA averaged 504,000 viewers and 0.10 in primetime. CW, while in slightly more homes, averaged 453,000 viewers and 0.07. So I don't think the network advantage will mean a significant positive difference in the ratings, Bryan. So again, Dave Meltzer just fucking said one thing, then said the other. It's the same thing when he goes, "Oh, the key demo is what matters," and when people say, when people say, or what did Dave say? The key demo matters, and then he goes, "No, it's the overall viewership that matters," and then he goes, "Well, no, it's actually the key demo that matters." He flip flops on the shit. Okay. And so that's what's happening here as well. He says that when it comes to CW and USA in 2013, there wouldn't be a difference. But now he wants to say in 2025 that, CW versus USA and TBS would be different. Meanwhile, it wouldn't be fucking different. And Dave knows this because all the arguments apply. Well, the TV cable, it's all different now. It's streaming now. Yeah, but that applies across the board still. Like the analogy you made before. So Dave's just a dumbass. And yeah, moving along here, Dave Meltzer just continues to argue with folks, and he talks a bit about ratings some more. Actually, we'll go down here. Like Dave Meltzer's whole bullshit narrative of what the ratings are blew up in his face. Switchblade posted this. The BJ Bethel, Dave Meltzer fake AEW Max numbers have been exposed once and for all. The NBA tip-off game did 5.6 million combined on NBC and Peacock, with 5.1, I'll round high, being on NBC. That means the game did no more than 554K viewers on Peacock. That is we'll say 11% streaming to TV ratio. We're rounding even high for these guys. 11%. Okay. So 554K viewers on Peacock. That's NBA. And they also said this was one of the highest rated, whatever the fucks. Okay. So the problem with Dave Meltzer here, when he just doesn't understand what he was talking about then, I feel like. I don't think he understands what he's talking about now. And with BJ Bethel and Dave Meltzer try to spit this shit like AEW's doing 500,000 people, Bryan, it's just not realistic. And here's more evidence of that. The more that people expose numbers, we're in the age of everyone showing the streaming numbers now and picking data to release. And it's always been that way. But now it's like, well, the streamers are going to get transparent. Yay, Hollywood, right? That's like the movement right now. And it's just going to blow. And then now with also real reporters reporting on WWE and ESPN and shit, it's just all blowing up in Dave's face. And it's fucking hilarious. And here's the thing. The reason this is key, but that's Peacock, man. How do you know it's not Max? Because we've looked at the charts. I've pulled up the Nielsen charts. YouTube is the king. They have about 12% of the pie. There's a pie of fucking each streamer or each company has the right. We've seen these Nielsen charts. I used to show them on the show all the time. And these charts show like how much of the market share each of these companies has. YouTube dominates. It's number one. Max is the very last one above other. WBD is as a whole. All their streamers is about 1.8% of the market. So Peacock larger than that. And yeah, man. And also AEW took an L by refunding. So it should be pointed out because I don't even think I have anything bookmarked in here to reflect this. But you guys know how Dave Meltzer infamously, like AEW starts going to Amazon to sell pay-per-views. And all of a sudden there's a magical 30%. Oh, they're doing about 30% more, Bryan. 180,000 paper, 120,000. That really means like, it's more like 90,000 buys. And Amazon had to refund all the fucking pay-per-view buys from this last one. And they were giving away free money. So Amazon lost money on this last shit. Why? Maybe they're washing their hands of it. I don't know. But that just slapped Dave in the face too. Because what's Dave going to say? All the buys for Wrestle Dream are way up. Notice he's not using that lie this time because he can't. They refunded all this money. And if the buys on Amazon are as high as Dave says, then this is like a huge story that like he's not talking about. You don't got Thirsty Thurston fucking, crying about this shit. You know what I mean? It's just funny. But anyways, let's move along. We have more ratings talks and arguments. We're going to get into star ratings as well. But Dave Meltzer is coping over his son, Tony Khan, in AEW. Shout out Heel Uzi with the funny commentary. And Dave Meltzer says Dynamite did 477K, 0.08, behind NBA, Fox News, college football on ESPN2, and even with some other shows. It's the reality of the new panel plus data. NXT had a bad one as well. Even though NXT was up in some demos from the week prior, right? And even though, like in some areas, I don't want to say demos, I guess, but maybe the key demo, but in certain areas they were up week over week, and everyone predicted they would get whooped way harder than they did. Same with SmackDown. Dave's not talking about that. He's just Dynamite. Here's this big explanation, then just at the end, little NXT, I guess, had a bad one too. Fuck that show, Bryan.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So moving along here, apparently, we talked about the fake AI story. We'll get an update on that. Let's just see, Dave. Here's more bias and lies and arguments. Okay, so Dave Meltzer, here's him, for instance, talking about WWE as well. So the last tweet we just read about Dynamite, he makes excuses, but then for Raw, this is how he writes the shit. Raw ratings from last Monday, extreme manipulations. As well as where maybe this had to be from before, because Dave dropped the whole manipulations thing with Raw. If this was recent, then fuck me. I guess it's when the Vision was around. But I think like a while ago, Dave kind of cut the maybe like a month ago. It's not that long ago, but he cut the whole like manipulations out, because as like Raj Giri and myself have pointed out, like Netflix would be able to manipulate it way more than when they say like we're down in overall minutes stream, but the viewership was higher than ever live. They could fucking easily lie and be like, well, the minutes streamed are up, or they could manipulate when the minutes streamed is up, but the overall viewers is down. They could easily just say, well, the overall viewers is up. They could easily lie that way, but Dave doesn't understand that. So Dave goes, Raw ratings from last Monday, extreme manipulations as well as where SmackDown fell in the weekly standings. And he says extreme manipulations like it's not a manipulation. Dave, when you fucking like put a spin on all of this shit and sit there and write all of this behind, like, even with some other shows, the reality is, the new Big Plus panel, and you with your infamous spins and saying like the other week we caught Dave Meltzer. He picked the high number for NXT or for AEW, the low number for NXT. Like that's literal manipulation in your reporting. You know what you're doing. You're a scumbag. And then you fucking sit there and lie and act like that's what Netflix is doing. Which, like, I'm sure there's some degree of manipulation for all of these guys. Like, it's the entertainment business, baby. They're all fucking trying to get the leg up and have, like in the fucking music industry, bro, these record labels and shit, like they have rooms where it's just bot farms of people streaming songs over and over and over and over and over, where they have rooms where it's just a room full of computers and tablets just streaming Justin Bieber's new album and shit. You know what I mean? So this is not like, I'm not saying like they're manipulating it that way, but they'd be able to way more blatantly with the whole minute stream being down sometimes, but then the ratings up overall. And then they just lie and say, why wouldn't you just go full force with the lie? I'm jumping Jeff Farmer. I'm going full force. And Dave just doesn't get it. And he's just confused. And more people like Nicolo Piccolo are going to continue to own him. Speaking of which, Dave goes, I cover business. You need to learn, Bryan. I cover the business. And so this guy here, Jose Sanchez, say, okay, with all due respect, you have put over AEW a lot. That feeds into people feeling this way. There you go. Like, that's the simplest thing you could say. You put AEW over too much. People feel a type of way about it. Dave can't accept it. I cover business. Real businessmen are fucking hooting and hollering and laughing when he says dumb shit like this. So Dave goes, actually, I cover business. That would require, talking. It's like, these guys, Hechicero, require talking about business success. Yes. Do the same for, WWE, CMLL. Well, CMLL, Hechicero is, NJPW. On this app, there is a tremendous amount of misinformation, which I correct. Bro, you don't correct shit. Nobody's riding your wave, bro. Meltzer, you're feeling yourself too much. No one cares what you say anymore. You literally don't understand your perception, how people view what the fuck you have to say. But people who say anything else don't read. What does that mean, Dave? So if I disagree with you, I don't read what? Like Huckleberry Finn? Like I haven't read a book? My fucking whole show's reading. What does that mean? It's just such a vague, redacted thing to say. It's just dismissive. It's just dismissive, and there's no merit to what he's saying here. Since those who do say nothing of the sort, and those complain, or the fraudcasters, you can clearly tell they don't actually read. It's like I'm reading you right now, bro. We got you read like a book. We're in a whole other library, doggy. So Nicolo Piccolo goes, you don't cover business, Dave. You cover fanfic with star ratings. Oh, man. We're going to get into those in a bit. Pardon me. You've spent 40 years grading matches like a Yelp critic while people who actually build this industry negotiate billion-dollar mergers. Exactly, Dave. What business are you studying? Well, many backstage. Yeah, Terry Taylor's being paid to tell you fake shit because they don't want to leak to fucking sheets and you just believe everything he says, huh? That's many sources. That's many people, Dave, huh? Manny. Actually, I meant Manny. Manny Fernandez. I definitely didn't just make him up, Bryan. So you don't understand media rights or even what I write because it's not about your comfort zone of stars and nostalgia. Boom. You're a relic of tape trading, pretending to be a reporter in a world of streaming rights, balance sheets, and shareholder calls. You don't correct misinformation. You create it. Boom. What you do isn't business, and it isn't journalism. It's cosplay. Perfect time of year for it, though. It is Halloween. Yeah, dude. Dave's been masked off for Halloween, though. He's been fully masked off. Shout out to my guy Nicolo Piccolo as well. And shout out the fucking like superstars out there. You know you are putting over PWT on the low ski. Shout you all out, man. Much love to Nick. He's been sharing my shit around and stuff. It's appreciated a lot. Nick says you don't cover business, you cover fanfic with Star, but you cooked him, bro. You cooked him. Someone made the analogy that, Nick put him in the coffin already. Now he's just opening it up once in a while to slap him around a little bit, which is pretty good. So, yeah, man, what is this one? So Dave's delusion. Yeah, this is a good one here. So Neckbeards, right? He posted this. He says, this is a good throwback when he goes, I remember Dave Meltzer said Bobby Eaton was the Nick Jackson of his era, right? Like Bobby Eaton was Nick Jackson of his era. Like that means anything, dude. Right? And we see the Observer glaze the Bucks like so fucking hard, man. It's not even funny. But this is back in 2020 at the start of the year. And this guy says, say what you want about the Jim Cornette. At least he can handle himself. But you better tread carefully about implying Bobby Eaton into this conversation. Thou shalt not discriminate. And so Dave Meltzer goes, he was one of the greatest of his era. He was that era's Nick Jackson.
Stupid idiot.
I can't even believe that, dude. I can't even believe that. So I think you'd say Nick Jackson is this era's Bobby Eaton. But again, like even that comparison's fucking stupid. Or maybe it's not in like a tag team sense, but it's just such a deep cut. Like, people don't know. Oh my God. People know the Bucks, man. A lot of people don't know, like, their names are Matt and Nick Jackson. Okay. But, sorry, some will short circuit, even though it's accurate. Dave, who literally we have documented short circuits on air and is an AI robot and loses to Grok in debates. MJF and I just had that discussion where we both came to the same conclusion from his studying tapes and me seeing both teams live. And then he's trying to glaze himself, me and MJF. And this is the thing with MJF, like, he fucking glazes Elbu and Meltzer and all these people who cover him good and shit. It's just the truth. It is what it is, man. People, you know, you're friendly with folks, but if he's sitting there with MJF, you think MJF would be smarter to the fucking biz than that, sitting there deliberating with Meltzer? And MJF would have been what, that 5 years ago? 20? Like, all right, you know? Were you even alive during the Attitude Era, bro? That's right. We're gatekeeping wrestling, man. And of course, this comes off the back of like Tony Khan comparing Moxley to Harley Race. And then Meltzer also compared the Bucks to Ric Flair. So Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer, and I also had this bookmarked, he says that the upcoming Dynamite #1 contenders 4-way tag match featuring FTR, the Young Bucks, Jurassic Express, and Jet Speed on Wrestling Observer Radio. He said that FTR and the Young Bucks are the greatest tag teams of the last 20 years. They are. He highlighted their ability to elevate opponents, comparing the Young Bucks' impact to Ric Flair's. Holy fuck, man. Who have the Bucks made? You'd be surprised, Bryan. Who the fuck have they made? Honestly, FTR was already on their fucking way. Did the Bucks make FTR? I don't know. I think they both kind of validated each other in that era when they came over to AEW. If we're talking about like in New Japan and shit, where's Roppongi Vice? Where's fucking these teams they were wrestling? I mean, okay, yeah, you have Kazarian and TNA still, but elevate, like, bro, Flair elevated people to world champion, legitimate Hall of Fame fucking. The Bucks, like, who have they done that to? Private Party? They're fucking sitting on the bench collecting dust right now. But maybe when Dave says like in the last 20 years, I mean, 20 years ago was 2005, 2005, 2006 now coming up right away. So he's not, I mean, the Hardys were split. The Dudleys were in TNA. The fucking ENC were split. Tag team wrestling, I think, was sort of becoming in a lull of like, I think it was just like single guys would get thrown together. You might have had like the, what were they called? The Dicks or the Deuce and Dominoes, maybe some of those. I can't remember exactly what year, right? But there was like Lance Cade and Murdoch. There was like a couple of teams that floated in and out. But then you had thrown together like Mordecai and Kensuke Suzuki or whatever his name is. You guys remember that? I forget his name. Sorry, but you know, you get these like random thrown together teams and shit. So maybe he's right. Like there was an era there where tag wrestling mostly existed in exciting ways outside of WWE. You had to look to TNA and Ring of Honor and shit like that. So maybe there's a debate in the last 20 years, FTR and Buck, like the Bucks were super over in the 2010s. Like 10 years ago, man, they were like on fire, like blowing up. Cody Rhodes helped them take it to the next level, obviously, but the Bucks were always around, like Omega, AJ, like Carl Anderson was getting over Rhodes, and you know, the Being the Elite stuff, the indie style, they were in Hot Topic and shit. Burn down the Hot Topic. You guys see that South Park, the goth episode? Burn down, gonna burn it down. But now you go to Hot Topic and there's just, I was traveling and I went to one of these big fucking malls in one of these big cities, right? Not too long ago, we went in the Hot Topic and it was all WWE shit, like wall to wall. So that's just hilarious. Shilling biased comparisons. We're moving along. Dave has some more here. So Jose Sanchez says, if Dave prefers AEW, God bless him. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if his impartiality is questioned. Also, not sure how this makes me distraught over WWE not being put over. And that's the thing. You state objective fact to Dave, and then he goes, you're just sad and melting down and everything. It's just projection, because that's what he's doing. He's coping over AEW lately. And so Dave Meltzer says, you're still at this? It's not a secret what my favorite promotion has been this year and last. And the funny part is it has had less 5-star matches than WWE in its history. So I think what Dave Meltzer's alluding to is that his favorite promotion is CMLL the last like 2 years. And we're going to see, man, Dave is starting to admit some things about AAA that I don't think he likes too much either. But, Dave Meltzer is, he is a fan of CMLL, and we all know that Hechicero, Mystico, fucking, they draw better than WWE with casuals. Oh, I had friends over and they loved CMLL. So Dave's a new. We know that. But yeah, I guess his favorite promotion is CMLL, and it's gotten less 5 stars matches than WWE in its history. But Dave, we just think you're a fucking liar. We don't believe you when you say this, because Will Ospreay has more 5-star matches than all of wrestling combined. Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar! It's just the math doesn't math. And you can't be like, well, okay, so here's the thing. I think, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think WWE main roster has the best wrestling overall consistently, personally. Oh, fucking stupid E-drone. No, not at all. Not at all. It's just like, I think consistently the PLEs deliver. They wait and give you gangbusters at the PLEs. Are every Raw and SmackDown the most exciting like they were in the Attitude Era? No. They can't even be that way anymore. Their sponsors and shit, they just can't even go that route. Has culture and times changed? Yeah. Am I really into like the storylines and shit as I get older? Yeah. Do I like when guys go out there, lay it all on the line? Do I like the old FMW? I'm a huge Etsushi Onita mark. Do I like the old fucking Hayabusa shit and I mean, even him, it's psychology, but the old New Japan shit, AJPW, they beat the fuck out of each other, the strong style, the Inoki. Of course, man. Of course. But the reason that shit was appealing to you guys, and it's the same thing with AEW, you didn't get to see it all the time. I saw it all. Yeah, Dave, you're a brain dead uber smart. We're talking about normal people. It drew huge in Japan. Yes, I know, because it was fucking exciting, and it was exciting to see in the magazines and the hype surrounding it and all of that shit. But you had to like tape trade to see some of that shit, bro. And it was the same thing with the indies and the Bucks and Kenny and what made Kenny versus Okada exciting and all this shit. You would just like see clips on YouTube. You would just see like the Young Bucks super kick party, and it's like a compilation of like 3 years of them just like landing super kicks in cool ways, and that shit got millions of views on YouTube. But their shit wasn't just readily accessible everywhere. New Japan World was wonky. It was all in Japanese. You had to get a friend's password and all this shit, and then it was still in Japanese and all this shit. So like, it's exciting. It's like foreign. It's different. How many wrestling fans talk about, man, I mean, I lived in the Northeast, or I lived up in Canada, buddy, and it was all WWF, but then we'd see on the magazines like fucking Funk bleeding or like Flair bleeding and shit. But I didn't really even see any Flair matches, and I was really drawn to it when it fucking, we've heard why, because it's like the old it's like the Catholic schoolgirl thing. Why is that a joke? They're a Catholic schoolgirl, so they're slutty. Get it? People defy their parents. They they go to the abnormal. They fucking reach out. People are different from their folks and shit a lot of the time. Why? Because they, like, someone says, don't do this thing as a kid. You go and do that thing. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It was just something that was out of reach. Now that we can see it all, there's 10 billion wrestling shows. Everything's just on YouTube. Everything's on a pirate ship. We all have 7 different links if we really need in our back pockets. We have it's just all there. It's all in your face constantly, all day, every day. It's just the allure isn't the same, And so this is why Dave can say like, oh, I don't fucking I prefer CMLL, but it's like you're faking the funk, buddy, and we can tell because of your star ratings. So speaking of which, these are the star ratings for Wrestle Dream. Like you would think this was the greatest, just looking at all these stars, it's like, so this is the greatest event ever held in pro wrestling. Okay. So Dave Meltzer's ratings, the I Quit. Well, let's start at the bottom here. And like read this stat here. 1 match rated 5 stars, 8 matches with 4 or above. How is that possible? How, bro? No one, like, all anyone talked about, if all the wrestling was that good, then we'd be like, what a fantastic card, front to back. The fishbowl thing, that was retarded, but like at least we got all this great wrestling and like the storytelling was on point. He's just looking at the moves. This is proof. Because if we're factoring in storytelling, crowd, heat, the people participating, all of these things, and then the match itself and what was accomplished, what comes after, like you don't factor in what's after, but a little bit of that because that's part of pro wrestling. Like the finish means something because it either ends something or starts something new or reignites something or, God. So the tailgate brawl, Willow and Harley, Megan and Penelope Ford, 2 3/4. Conglomeration versus Death Riders, a 4-star match, bro. 4 stars. Like, you're a fucking clown. They're just his opinion stars, Phil. Why do you care? Yes, they are, but he won't admit that. So we're going to clown him for his star ratings till he admits that. He condescends you. He tells you you don't read. He tells you you can't read. He tells you you're half-brained if you don't study and learn from him. Meanwhile, he doesn't even have a criteria and he can't even admit one because he knows he's a fraud and he just shills for certain people and sucks certain people's balls because they're his fucking friends and they sniff his taint. And he knows that he wants to shill for one company, putting his idea of pro wrestling on television at this rating. Tony Khan kisses his ass. Eric Bischoff tried to bring Dave in. It didn't work out. Dave started burying him. It's just a tale as old as time. He's a fucking fraud, and he claims his shit is objective, and he rates matches he doesn't even like higher than they should be, which is like, well, that's stupid too. That doesn't even make sense either. So it's all bullshit. FTR versus Jet Speed, 4.5 stars. Hater Tekla, 3 1/4. Bro, Jurassic Express and the Bucks, 4 3/4. So again, I've explained how Dave does his ratings now. I've broken it down. I'm in his psyche. This is why he fears PWT. This is why he fears Phil Marks. This is why he fears flutes.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
So I figured out what he does. He picks the match that he wants to give 5 stars or like the highest rating to. And then he just rates everything accordingly from there. He even does it to AEW, but that's why you get preposterously high ratings. So he knew he was going to give. So he knew he's giving Okada, Takeshita, Brodito, because his mission right now is like this Bandito and Takeshita, I tell you. So he's giving it 5 stars no matter what. We know that he's going to give the Bucks a higher rating than FTR versus whoever. So he gave them a half or a quarter of a star more. See what I'm saying? Then he rates FTR just underneath that. He knew he was going to shit on he doesn't like women's wrestling. So he gave Megan and Penelope, Willow and Harley 2 3/4 stars. And then Hater Tekla just get 3 1/4. Like he knew he was going to rate Tekla a little higher because people like Tekla. You know what I'm saying? So he knows what he's doing. And then same with Hurt Syndicate. He has to rate it high because it's AEW. So 3 3/4. Can't quite give it 4. But he doesn't really like Hurt Syndicate, so it's on the lower end for this show. This is how he tries to paint the narrative and explain, this is my explanation, rather, of how he grades shit. Each card is individual. It's not like in the history of wrestling, which it would be fine if he just explained that. My highest rated match, no matter what, even if the show sucked ass, is going to get 5 stars, and then I'm going to rate everything from there. Okay. He doesn't even lay out a criteria. He just goes, it's based on how the crowd's moved. It's like a Richter scale, Bryan. Okay, I don't think the crowd was any more moved for the conglomeration and Death Riders than Hayter and Tekla. Fuck you talking about? 4 stars for the Death Rider? It's just crap. So Fletcher Briscoe 4 3/4 because it has to do more than Statlander and Storm, which got 4 stars. Mercedes and Shirakawa 3 1/4. Now, why did Mercedes and Shirakawa get 3 1/4, but Statlander and Storm get 4 stars? Because Dave, again, he has to rate it high because it's AEW, but at the same time, Mercedes Moné calls him a salty mark, which he is. And she buries him. So he rates her kind of lower than everyone else. I see right through Dave's bullshit because I've studied and learned him. That's what's so funny. Study and learn. I have. You're cooked. Brodito versus Takeshita. I broke that one down. It gets 5 stars because Bandito and Takeshita. He's like, Bandito and Takeshita, Bryan. Hangman and Joe gets 4 1/4. And then the I Quit match gets 4 1/4. So he tied those. Why? Why are those tied? Why are those matches tied? Because they're the 2 main co-main event. That's all. Well, they were both, bro, the world title and the I Quit, which it was like a double main event, Bryan. Even though he'd cry about that elsewhere. And then FTR Jet Speed gets the 4 1/2 because he has to shill the part that everybody said, not everybody, but a lot of people agreed with was low rent. So we're into Dave's psyche. I've got him pinpointed and destroyed. And now we're going to get into some stories that he's lied about, some reactions to his shit. But first, guys, let me check in with super chats here. If you guys want to support the show, youtube.com/@ProWrestleClips. You guys can super chat in, gift a membership, become a member for 99 cents. Evil Kelso 50 for 5 says, Dave Meltzer is the Tito Ortiz of the dirt sheet world. He's reaching for those grapes, Bryan. Dude, have you ever seen the video of Tito Ortiz cutting onions or whatever in his kitchen? And he's chopping his fingers up and shit because he's such a dumbass, dude. It's I don't even want to compare it to that, but it is. It's like Tito Ortiz or Brendan Schaub. They're just these CTE riddled, but I guess that's what it is. It ages your brain and puts holes in your brain, when you're fucking old and have dementia, like Chris Benoit's brain and shit. And that's what's going on with Dave. I mean, allegedly. Right? He's fucking senile and crazy. Thank you so much. And Paul Carpenter 7844 has been a member for 6 months. That fucking rules. I acknowledge you guys. And you know what they say. You gotta be a hoe. So let's carry on our wayward sons with the show here. So Dave Meltzer, we talked a little bit about belts and the storyline. So he talks about Mercedes Moné. And Tony Khan recently was in the news for saying that Mercedes Moné doesn't make any money when she goes. She doesn't really make money when she goes to these indies. So Dave Meltzer comes in and blows up their spot. And of course he's doing this because he doesn't like Moné. He tolerates Moné because Tony is Mercedes Moné's side piece. All right. Tony Khan is Mercedes Moné's fucking best guy, Tony Khan.
Sometimes in life you got to be a hoe.
And so Dave has to shill for her a bit, but Dave Meltzer said one independent promoter who reportedly inquired about booking Mercedes Moné claimed her appearance fee was $25,000, dude. Mercedes Moné, come on down. So yeah, man, she's making $25,000. I wonder how much her puppet makes per appearance, but that's according to Dave as well. He could just be fibbing and lying when it comes to all of that. And I think we have one more thing with Mercedes Moné when it comes to Dave, or perhaps it's Bryan. And this show, of course, is called Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, featuring Bryan Alvarez, crying Bryan Alvarez, and also Filthy Tom Lawler. And again, notice this, when they're burying AEW shit, these guys at the Observer, they do it I'm tired of these. It's like this faux outrage bullshit. I don't know if it's they just Bryan's doing it because he's phony. Filthy Tom Lawler's just not trying to get heat on him, but he does want to criticize it, but he doesn't want the fan backlash. So it's sort of like this faux fucking, like he doesn't want to jeopardize. He's getting paid to be at the Observer. I'm not saying it's going to make him shill. I appreciate Tom Lawler's perspective. Him and Lance Storm keep it real. But I think when it just seems a little, I'm not saying you have to snap and be wild and crazy like me and like, whoa, fuck you guys and cuss up a storm, but it just seems like a little rehearsed or premeditated. And I think that's just sort of like, hey, I got cleared by Tony Khan. We can bury this puppet thing this week or some shit. You know, I don't know what. It's not that. That's obviously conspiratorial and me just joking around. But you guys know what I mean, right? It just doesn't come across as genuine. Definitely Bryan Alvarez is... Whoa, that was delayed. Definitely Bryan Alvarez is like NXT outrage is fake. He's just worried about AW. But this puppet thing, like, they'll point to very obvious things like the puppets are dumb. Okay. Tony Khan just goes, this is great. And like, even Tony understands that maybe like a puppet's dumb, or Monet getting in food fights every other week, or girls making out with each other and spanking each other in the ass with pork chops and slapping each other's titties and stapling their vaginas and stuff. Like, it's just middle schooler goofiness. So when you call it out, it's kind of like, you don't get too much heat when you call out puppets and shit. Like, even sickos know, like, yeah, it's kind of cringe, you know?
My big issue was that once the puppet showed up and ruined Mercedes' celebration, Mercedes was so angry.
We've gotten like 19 Monet celebrations too. Come up, and then she gets dipped in cake or mashed potatoes. Come up with something fucking original, man. Like, this is the problem. I don't know if it's Jen Peppermint over there. She's the one who came up with Roman Reigns getting covered in dog food or what, but it's hacky and repetitive.
She didn't immediately go to beat up Harley. Instead, she started cutting a promo on the puppet. And she kept cutting a promo on the puppet.
So shout him out for calling it out. But again, Bryan, like, we saw Rick Steiner do a promo with, the Chucky doll in WCW. And we just actually watched that. I recorded the Halloween special before I came on the air for Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. That will air tomorrow morning on Halloween 2025, if you guys are listening to this at a later date. Time Cop! But yeah, Halloween, that will be out tomorrow morning. Time Cop! Of course, this is a live broadcast, but another shameless plug. But yeah, dude, I mean, this is, again, one of the least things you could get triggered over in AEW. It's so ridiculous anyways, and it just shows you that this is like little kid stuff. Okay, and we've been trying to point this out forever. This is why the ratings are in the shits. I'm glad that Crying Bryan will keep it real with Filthy Tom Lawler, but when Daddy Dave's there, Dave would just be interrupting him. Well, you know, I wasn't about the puppet.
And granted, she called the puppet Harley. It's like, if you're so mad, she's so mad she sent all her men away, all her belts away, sent Renee out of the ring so she could stand there and cut a promo on a puppet.
She should have ripped the puppet to shreds.
Well, she eventually
She should have stomped it. She should have thrown it in the crowd, ripped the hair off of it, everything.
I fully agree, but the puppet thing's dead. They just keep going back to it because it got over before. It should have been a story that got fleshed out further instead of just like this bit that you go back to that's hack and no one gives a shit about. That's the fucking problem. And Tony Khan sucks. He has zero creative fucking aspiration.
Sick of these stupid freaking puppets in wrestling. I got to see this dumb Finn Balor puppet, okay? Layeska's one thing. Layeska's been around for years. All right? These are cheap imitations. I can't stand it. There's the Alexa puppet.
Yeah.
No more puppets.
I agree. I'm right there with you, Tom.
We got enough. The only puppet in wrestling is the one that I'm talking to right now.
Excuse
me.
Bryan, you got fucking called out, cuz. What you gonna do, dude? Tom Lawler running wild on you, brother. Oh, shit, he cooked
Fan of the
you.
Muppets.
You are a Muppet.
Why are you so
Bryan.
anti-puppet?
Because he's got to talk to you all day.
It's supposed to be fun.
I don't want to see puppets on the pro wrestling show.
Okay.
I just don't. I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't
Like, it would work if Harley Quinn's thing was like they're trying to market these things to kids a little more, but it's not for that. It's just this random thing that pops up, and maybe they're selling replicas of them, but they have no good like merch thing set up. If you're Harley Cameron and Monet, you guys better team up yourselves and get these manufactured in China or some shit and start selling these. Like, hello, it's right there. And we'll have Bryan. This is, of course, featuring Bryan. He'll pop in every now and again throughout the show. So one thing we talked about before was Dave Meltzer with his AI story. Here's some stories that blew up in Dave Meltzer's face. The AI story and then the Vince Russo story as well. Actually, we'll save that for last. So, but there is some stories that blew up in Dave's face. The AI one being a key one. We've covered this before. This is just an update. So Dave Meltzer doubles down or triples down on this stupidity here. And he goes, several higher ups were very unhappy at how the AI story blew up last week, Bryan, but nobody was able to deny the facts, although they tried to change the subject, noting it was for things other than scripting shows. No, they didn't try to change the subject. Tony Khan has literally scripted shit. He's literally tested AI out. You don't give a fuck. You spurg out and blow up, and oh my God, the house is on fire. The church is on fire. When fucking WWE contacts an AI thing, which, like, who gives a fuck? All these companies should be. And he's like, they tried to move away and say that it blah, blah, blah. Okay. I promise you, whatever functionalities that UFC uses for AI, that's what they're going to focus on and refine first. For AI, it is finding every flying knee finish and categorizing files. You guys know what I'm saying? So for WWE, it'll be the same thing. And then maybe, do they try and register? That's just a stupid move. If they do and we catch it, we'll call it out and call it redacted. But Dave, you don't double down on shit that nobody fucking can prove. Nobody can prove. Nobody can prove. Although that's true, as last week's example showed, the idea is also for scripting shows. What example? Bobby Lashley in a Joshi outfit? Holy fuck. Squishing a banana on your ear, Dave, in your face? Giving you flashbacks? Right now, publicly, the idea is that AI will be doing the job of a writer's assistant. No, that's not what the idea is. Publicly, another lie. So you just lied in your follow-up. Liar! Oh, what it said was it will help categorize shit and for files and stuff like this. We need to pull we have these, it's Halloween. We're trying to do every individual Halloween Havoc match and upload each show and cut out all the whatever. And we need to edit the fucking WWE logos out and all, or WWF logos out and all the shit. That's for sure what it's used for. Now, do you think Triple H has gone on like Grok and been like, book me a wrestling show? I am the gamer. And he fucking has maybe played with it to see what they do? Sure. You were glazing Tony Khan for doing the same thing. It's good to stay up on it, on AI. AI could maybe even inspire a good idea. I'm not even taking that away from it. AI could maybe even inspire someone like oh shit, that's like, I didn't even think of that, but the rest of this is all wrong. I don't know. Then it takes a human to come in and fucking make it a real story. South Park proved this. They let the climax, the last act of one of their episodes, they wrote it with AI, and then they just played it how the AI wrote it, and it was complete dog shit. And that's how it'll always be, because it's just taking information. It's not actually from within. So taking information can inspire shit, okay, but like using it and passing it off as your own idea, everyone can see through that, and it's just not going to work. For graphics and shit, listen to me, man. When it's like the new Avengers comes out, and instead of using VFX, we fucking used an AI program to make the Hulk. I don't give a shit. As long as it's not, he doesn't have like 6 fingers in one frame, and it's like good. I mean, that makes no difference to anybody in the fucking world. Yes, if they start writing the pro wrestling storylines with AI, but all AI can do is regurgitate all the old shit that's already happened. Which, I'm sorry, but that's already what all of pro wrestling is essentially doing. Simpsons did it. Okay, shout out South Park again. I'm a big fan, if you guys can't tell, but WWE did it. WWF's already done it. They did everything already. They gave birth to rubber hands. So you have to, well, all pro wrestling is now, and any movie is. What's a rom-com? Oh, these two people fall in love and funny shit happens and they don't like each other's families. It's the same tropes, it's the same beats, but you just repackage them and slide different characters in who bring their own unique whatever and their inspirations to the table and all of these things, and then you create something. So Dave is just trying to doom and gloom. I mean, WWE, they're just going to use AI to write shit. Like, he literally is trying to push that off and sell that to people. Like, we don't smell the shit. Clearly, this shit stinks, right? And so he says last week's example showed. What the fuck does that mean when you fantasy Mark booked Bobby Lashley in a dressed like a samurai so he could peg your bum or what with a fucking samurai sword, Dave? Like, whatever. I forget what he was saying, but whatever shit he was talking about.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I made the joke that he fucking fell asleep playing VR, like hanging out in a fucking anime world with his Joshi girlfriend, and he fell asleep with his VR helmet on, and he had a dream about Lashley in a fucking Joshi outfit or whatever. But then they started apartment wrestling or what there, bud. But so Dave says, although that right now publicly the idea is that AI will be doing the job of a writer's assistant. I don't even believe that, really, unless it's like to categorize shit. But then what is your phone, dude? Like, your phone already does that. It's like, who cares, man? Shut up. So, but that's the present and not the plan for the future. AI is studying the creative process, and Cyrus Kozari is studying the creative process. Studying the way WWE puts their storylines together and shit. It's studying the creative process. Or are they studying it and figuring out ways, and then also the AI studying the creative process so they can figure out ways, or just studying everything so they can figure out ways to implement it intelligibly? But that also doesn't mean that it's just going to flat out write stories. Okay? It's just crazy too. It's like, Dave, you're on a fucking smartphone and like tweeting shit out to marks who use AI for their pictures. Like, you don't actually even care about that. But it's just the way that people got outraged over his story, and he knew what he was doing. And I'll tell you why. Because he just mentioned Tony Khan using AI in passing, which I need to bring up multiple times to drive that point home. Tony literally said, and Dave implied that Tony, the other company, he wrote it. He didn't even name AEW because he knows that the backlash, people would go, well, fucking AEW. And to his sycophant, to his naive readers, it's noted another major wrestling company used it. Why not just name AEW and Tony Khan? We read that article, and in the last sentence, he just threw in there, oh, well, we read that excerpt, and he goes, and it's noted another major company tested it out. And it sort of insinuated Tony might have even implemented it on TV. WWE's not even doing that, other than the fucking background videos and shit for El Grande. So Dave continues. He says, when Paul Levesque was at the production meeting talking about the plans to integrate AI into WWE creative, video graphics, and storytelling, he also said that nobody in the writer's room will be replaced. So boom. Thank you, Dave, for reporting this. And then Dave says another executive joke. So somebody's giving Dave the play-by-play of in their boardroom. The play-by-play, the lowdown. Another executive joke that it's not taking any jobs except saying one person. Meant to be a joke since they named a name, but it still got many nervous. See, this is what Dave does. So who's his stooge, right? You know, he's got a stooge, right? An office stooge. And fucking, they're like, yeah, so, this went down. And this is one of these stories Dave's trying to tell as like, this is what I mean. It's fantasy Mark, like he's speaking as though he was in the room and he wishes he was in the room. This is one of those things where we're sitting around. So what Dave's explaining is guys are sitting around and they're all having fun and they're joking in the writer's room. And this would be like a firsthand story you'd tell. This isn't like something you fucking Dave adds this info because whoever told him this shit told him this story because they were firsthand in the fucking room, and then Dave adds this extra, but it's still got many nervous. No, you added that extra, but the story was, oh yeah, man. So Hunter's like, we're not replacing any jobs except for Paul Heyman. Ah, ha, 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 and everyone laughs. And Dave's trying to like tell this secondhand story as if he's in the room, and then spin it as like doom and gloom news. Another executive joke saying that it's not taking any jobs except saying one person meant to be a joke since they named a name. Imagine like this is telling a story. This is worse because he's not saying names. It's worse than like, you hang out with a chick and she's like, and then fucking me and Raquel went to the store and then Adam was at the mall and then they tell you people's names. Or I guess it's not just girls, but I find in my life girls do that more where like they're just naming people and you don't know who any of these people are and you're like, and they're just naming them by first name like you're supposed to know. So this is worse than that because Dave's like not even doing that even. It's like, well, who the fuck are you talking about, man? This is like an offhand story that he was told by someone chuckling about, yeah. And then he's sitting there going, it still got many nervous. You're just adding that. No one's fucking nervous. AI, everyone should be nervous a little bit about AI, but everyone is nervous about it and we're not going to let it replace fucking everything. And you can't in the fucking arts. You can't in the arts. It can't replace everything in the art. It's fun to make little arts and make little videos come alive and all of these sorts of things. That's cool. Do you know what I like to do with the Grok app, which I haven't on my phone, but you know what I like to do with the Grok app is because I love going on like looking at old Jack Kirby art and stuff like that. And then you fucking make the picture into a video, but it's like a comic book panel. Like that's fun. I don't care what anybody has to say. AI image enhancer. Yeah, we should all be using that shit. You know what I mean? You can take old footage. WWE does it for the Vault and they use AI to enhance the tape so it looks crystal fucking clear. And now I'm watching the Hardy Boys versus who the fuck were they facing, where Jeff does the moonsault and he just lands on his head. He just lands on his back on the outside when they were just jobbers, right? He was like 16 then or 17 then or whatever. But anyways, I hope you guys understand like the example I'm giving there of with what Dave Meltzer's doing. It's like, why would that be in your news story? That's just such like it's like you weren't in the room. And then you're just like adding this extra doom and gloom to it. It just doesn't make sense. So Dave goes, people are still worried about it because the trust level has been down since they lied to everyone on the first Rollins injury. So he's pretending like the first ever worked shoot injury ever was Seth Rollins, where they didn't reveal some shit. And the trust level's still down. Nobody trusts each other in that locker room. Meanwhile, look at the WWE locker room and how they all treat each other. And all the backstage videos, if we get of them all fucking hanging out and do like you know what I mean? They're having production meetings. They're all on the same boat. They're all headed the same direction. Everything's smooth. You don't hear about fights. You don't hear about any bullshit. Anybody with drama, notice all the people who've left WWE as well, that they're like, okay, you're cut and shit. They're in drama and just quotes of like, they're all getting in fucking drama. Notice that? Notice how they kind of just shed a bunch of people that you're like, oh, fuck, they may have been. I'm not saying everyone, but there's some people, like some people just get cut, like it happens. But, there's some folks who get let go and it just seems like, I don't know. It just seems like they're avoiding fucking around. Even like an Andrade, he just dipped out, still kind of causing them problems. And they just kind of dipped him out. So it's just funny that Dave is trying to paint this narrative that isn't evident. Meanwhile, in AEW, it's all anyone talks about is how fucking rocky it is. Oh, well, they're just hating grifters. So Devon Dudley's a hating podcasting grifter. Is that what it is? He's a fraud casting grifter. He's a fraudcaster. Okay, Trump, you know, like what are you fucking no, we all do it. Crying Bryan and shit. It's just funny. Crooked Hillary, right? It's funny. It's Jim Cornette does it infamously, right? The hardest part is remembering Jim's name for everyone and then everyone's actual name. And then, you know, some wrestlers like indie name and their Fed name, you know, and then Jim's nickname for them and shit. It's funny. Now you got Phil's here. No, mine are easy. Mine are like Stan Lee, right? Very simple. It's an alliteration or a rhyme. Okay. Anyways, I digress. So one person noted that even if it just eliminates some entry-level positions, that would mean fewer new writers being trained. Well, no shit. But like, is it going to do that, Dave? That's the question. Like, I don't know if we can confidently say, I mean, yes, AI will eliminate a lot of fucking jobs, and okay, it eliminates someone's job whose job it is to go through all these fucking files and then organize shit, or it eliminates jobs, or it makes them have more time for other shit. Do you know what I mean? Or it assists them in their job, and we don't see jobs get eliminated because there's still a human aspect of double checking to make sure AI is not making mistakes and things like this. And now you need people to manage the AI, and then you're just hiring new people for algorithm and all this fucking shit. So basically, the point I'm getting at, it's a ginormous conglomeration that hires thousands and hundreds and millions of people millions and billions of people over the years, and it will just continue to do so. And AI could replace Dave. So what is he? Maybe that's where his cope comes from, you know? Like, Dave, you're pretty much AI. Because you're like just making shit up, or you get your fucking stats wrong. I used AI for the Halloween show for some of the WCW facts that I was just like, well, that's not right. And I had to fucking fix it on the fly and shit. Because like it's just not accurate. It's never gonna be fully. It's useful. It is if you just need to quickly pull up information. But even when you do that, it can be wrong. So there's still a human aspect that has to be there. And Dave wouldn't understand. He just wants doom and gloom for WWE. So speaking of which, let's get into some Dave Meltzer WWE news. Before we do that, let me check in here. Thomas Moore 9704, speaking of rhymes for 2, says Mercedes Puppeta is the AE wrestling Gota. Yeah, man. I like Lieska better. I'm not a big fan of like the demon puppet either. I think it just gets
Sometimes in life you got to be a hoe.
You know what they say, chat. You know what they say. So Dave Meltzer, man, he talks about WWE, and Bryan's going to pop in here as well. Well, speaking of which, actually, you know, Bryan is always going off about NXT, and here's him complaining some more about Dark State and the Hardys and blah, 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 blah. And Bryan is saying in one side of his mouth that he wants Javon Evans to be on the main roster and pushed like Luthez to the fucking moon, and he's ready for Mania main events and all this shit. But then out the other side of his mouth, he's like, could anyone explain to me why Dark State beat the Hardys and not Javon and Slater? And it's like, well, they're trying to push Javon and Slater, and the Hardys need to start making people, and they clearly see a lot in these 4 guys in Dark State, stupid. So Bryan, like, he just hates NXT. You know, when you can't point out any good, which I'm not saying he doesn't, like, we're just reacting to clips and whatnot. And I'm sure there's some stuff he points out that's good, but he's so glib and glum about it. And this show's written by AI. Like, just condescending, even though there's more good stuff than bad stuff. He just goes off hard on like the bad stuff, which is fine. You can do that. I do the same thing with AEW, but it's because it's become mostly bad stuff for like 4 years now, 3 years minimum. It's just like mostly bad, right? Whereas like WWE, I'd say for the most part is mostly good. In general, it's a good fucking show. We can tell it's just because there's a lot of fans. No, then why did WCW come in and become the better show for a long time? People were watching because it's fucking good. AEW is doing better than NXT. It's fucking not. We got to stop all this bullshit cope. But yeah, the thing is that Bryan just, it seems faux. It doesn't seem real when he's crying about NXT. I just don't believe it. Let's
Dark State gets the win. It was total chaos. I was exhausted.
As much as I enjoyed this match, anybody can
see.
explain
Here's
to
the
me.
thing, and he's like, as much as I enjoyed this match, it was the worst match on that show. And I'm not saying, well, it was still the worst, but I still enjoyed it. Everything's subjective. I'm not trying to shit on him, but it just shows you the stuff. It's like I almost don't even buy what the fuck he's saying. It's almost like you're just inventing a thing. It would be like, okay, I loved the Samoa Joe Hangman Halloween segment on Dynamite. I loved how Hangman was dressed as Shivani. It's a little cheesy, but like, bro, Rick Steiner talked to a Chucky doll. Like, what are we gonna fucking go tell Rick Steiner he's cheesy, you know? But I like that segment there with fucking Hangman, right? And if you're to nitpick it, it's like, okay, well, I mean, Hobbs and Shibata got kicked in the balls and washed, and he just took out their whole crew. So why should I? But it's like, well, he kicked them both in the balls, and they both went down, and then he hit the buckshot and everything. It's like, it would be like if I got outraged. Like, overall, I liked it. I'm not going to be outraged over the fucking, okay, well, Hobbs and Shibata both, like, they just shouldn't have been in the ring. They should have been tied up with something else, or like maybe they could have did 2 Shivanis or something. The way they pulled it off was really was really good rather. But yeah, I just don't buy into his, like, he's just finding something to get mad about this match, because it's like, dude, if you really enjoyed this match, I thought it was the worst match on this show on Halloween Havoc, but you really enjoyed it, then why would this even be a thought, especially when Bryan cries that Javon Evans should be main eventing Manias and push to the moon and be a world champion and shit. Said, oh, he's like Luthez at 21 years old was pushed to he should be the same thing. So that's why Dark State beats the Hardys, who shouldn't be pushed to the moon, instead of Javon Evans, who they got a big fucking win and whatever. You know what I mean? It just seems faux from Bryan.
Why Dark State beat the Hardys for the NXT tag team titles and not Javon.
And if he's saying, why didn't Javon and Slater beat the Hardys for the tag titles? Because they're building it up. They're going to do heels versus baby faces, like real heroes versus villains, right? Like pro wrestling should be. And they're going to have Slater and Javon beat Dark State, who are also invading TNA, Bryan. I know you don't study the fucking business. I'm an uber sicko TNA hole, and I know that it's like, you know, I just keep up with all this shit. But Bryan, it's just pretty simple. There's a TNA NXT invasion. Dark State is on both shows. But the Hardys are on both shows. Right, dude. But the point is that they don't want to take these other belts from them and shit. Okay, this was for the NXT titles. So now you have Javon and Slater beat Dark State, the heels, for the NXT titles, and then the Hardys can keep going on with the TNA tag titles and fucking helping them get with their TV deal and all that shit. Like, it's just pretty simple. Like, pro wrestling is entertainment and all that shit, and it is fan service, but it's also a business. Now, I know those 50% off sales aren't fucking helping you, bud, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty like clear to see why they did it. They're developing these guys, and they're going to build to that, but Dark State's on both shows. So give them a set of the belts again, because they're going to all break off, and eventually we're going to see Dark State as like the 4 pillars of NXT. Not really, but these guys are eventually going to all break up too, and I could see them being individuals in NXT themselves. And once they call a bunch of guys up, they're trying to establish them and get them some cred and get them some EXP as well. I just don't. It's so simple to see why they did this,
or why the fucking butt guy, like this Dark State, are 2-time NXT tag team champions.
right? It's a developmental territory.
Vaughn has never won any championship of any sort at NXT. And
This is so retarded, dude. I can't stand when people do this, Bryan, because not everyone's going to have every belt in the world. Javon Evans is getting over. Picture this. No belts. The belts elevate Dark State. They don't do anything for Javon. He's over as fuck as it is. And he's the underdog. His chase is better than the capture. And he will get it one day. He's 21. They want to keep him in the company for 20 more years, Bryan. Some people go and win every belt like Ethan Page. Some guys, they don't do that, and they take a different road, and the journey's sweet, and you're just looking for a reason. Hey, because, Bryan, it's a fake show, and not every character is the same. Stupid.
Dummy. Yeah.
Fucking dumb asshole.
Including the fucking Heritage Cup, which is at the bottom of a lake. Anyone can explain either of these things to me?
The Heritage Cup, I don't think existed when Javon started. Like, I think they already got rid of that fucking thing when...
I would love to hear it.
Yeah, I just explained it, but you won't listen. You just blocked me like about a week ago. About a week ago. Fuck with us and then we tweaking ho. No, but yeah, dude, you blocked me like a week or two ago. Otherwise, you'd be seeing this shit. This hot fire I'm spitting right now. I'm schmurdering you. That's Bobby Schmurder, right? I'm schmurdering you. Shmoney dancing on you, dude.
And then Leon and Javon are disgusted backstage.
Yeah.
They want to go after Darkseid for the tag titles.
Yeah, no shit.
At first I was mad, but then it was like...
Why? Why would you be mad
oh,
about
fucking,
that?
of course that's what they're going to do.
Of course that's what they're going to do. Because
what would get Leon and Javon more over? Beating the Hardys?
Beating the Hardys? Leon Slater just beat one of the fucking Hardys, dude. Did he not? Didn't he just beat a Hardy boy not that fucking long ago? Didn't he just take on Jeff or Matt or both of them one-on-one? He might even took them both out one-on-one recently. And he's like, what's going to get them more over so they can't just fight the Hardys too and then become NXT TNA double champs like the Hardys are? They can't do that, and it can't be long-term booking. Bryan just wants it all right now. Bryan's an AEW sicko. Just give it all to me right now. No waiting, no building. No, he's just tired of it. Dude, if you're this burnt out and you don't want to watch the weekly wrestling show, then just stop watching the shit. Stop watching all of this shit if you're this burnt by it. Like, it doesn't even make sense what you're saying. They're telling a long-term story. Why is it at this? Because it's not that thing. Because it doesn't make sense right now.
For the NXT tag team titles or beating Dark State?
Well,
the answer is the Hardys.
Yeah.
So we can't do that.
So we can't do that, even though we've gotten Leon Slater massively over with the TNA audience, and he's the current X Division champion, and he already beat Matt and Jeff Hardy. I'm pretty sure he beat them both one-on-one each. Am I wrong about that? Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty goddamn sure he beat at least one of the Hardys, but it's like, of course we can't do that. Yeah, because Obafemi's not over. Stephanie Vaquer didn't get over. Ricky Saints and Ethan Page aren't fucking over. Trick Williams isn't over. None of these people are over, right? They don't do. So, of course, we can't do that. Where have you ever said that about AEW? You lying prick. He doesn't believe what he's saying right now because it's just phony. If this is his interpretation, he's mentally retarded. It's just that simple. I don't mean it offensively. It's just the truth, right? It's just like, I got ADHD or some shit. I don't know. I'm fucking crazy and autistic in ways, right? You just got to admit it, dude. You're fucking literally like, you're just either lying or you're just fucking insane. If this is your interpretation of shit, bro, like, I'm sorry. It's not even like a subjective thing. He's like, I loved this, which like, even I'm like, that match sucked. He's like, I fucking love this, but here's a bunch of fantasy mark booking we can't do because we're just not doing it yet when I want it right now at Halloween Havoc between the teams called Dark State and the Hardys. And then we have another tag match because we're trying to establish Slater and Javon, their moves that they're going to do together. And we're trying to get them reps together in the ring before we just throw them as a fucking tag team at the Hardys in their second fucking match because we actually make people win matches before they get title shots and shit. Holy fuck. Imagine that, dude. Imagine that. So again, Bryan always just pissing everyone off. Let's just be honest about it. So in other WWE news from Dave and Bryan, Bryan, here is Seth Rollins. Again, they're just trying to beat this over everybody's head with this whole, like, has Seth Rollins' injury made people question the legitimacy of Soul's injury and other injuries, and there's no trust in WWE and nobody trusts each other? And they're just lying about this shit blatantly. Like, No, man, it's all good. I know you guys are crying about it.
Emotional damage.
People just get pile drivered on chairs. Moxley eats exploding boots and gets his arm chopped off and fucking spikes in the back and shit like this and lit on fire and body bagged and drowned in fish tanks. And then he fucking shows up without even a bandage on his head, wrestling full force the next Wednesday and shit 2 days later. I know you guys are used to that and you don't understand what selling is and stuff. They worked a fucking shoot injury angle. They're not going to do it all the time. And what it is you guys are dumb smarks like the rest of us. And we're just all, when we talk about it, could be a work, it could be a shoot. That's the fun they've created again for fans. If any fucking fan comes to you and is like, dumbass, it's clearly a fucking work, fuck that person, because that's not what this is about. It's not about proving the works and shoots. You got worked by this work injury when they've worked injuries. Yeah, bro, we're trying to have fun. That's like, I want to be worked. That's part of pro wrestling. Like, I don't, people are so fucking lame these days. So I get it. People have to drudge through that shit when you're just trying to mark out and, hey, maybe it is a fucking Inuna, right? But Dave is trying to say, like, there's doom and gloom within instead of addressing the real issue like I just did. He's creating this culture of like, it's doom and gloom and they shouldn't work injuries. Like, it's bad for working people. You can't work the boys. The boys have always been worked. The boys have got worked more than fucking anyone in the fucking business. Okay. Holy shit. So again, if Dave studied and learned, he'd understand. And the boys will fucking tell you that. But here we go. I'm just a dumb fuck. What do I know? But here we go. Here's him and Bryan breaking down like Soul's injury might be a work, and there's distrust because of Seth's injury.
Soul's got a big brace on her leg and a crutch. I'm not cleared to defend the North American title. Ava then says, you don't have to do this. And by the way, what about your speed title? Like, that's your concern right now, Ava? And then Soul just says, we'll worry about that one later. And at that point, I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I'm with Shrine Bryan. I'm with you, buddy. I don't like that. It's just like, well, this other belt, you're good. Even if they did something like, well, until the next tournament's announced, like if you're not ready to go by the next tournament's finals, your slated match, you have until then. Otherwise, they should have did something like that. Maybe they could. Some people get pissed too because I'll like review SmackDown, but like obviously, dude, you're watching a 3-hour show. You get up to take a piss. You're watching a 2-hour show or whatever. I missed Dragunov said fucking he's taking on the open challenges. Sorry, guys, and I don't like that either. Still, whether I saw it live or not, I don't like that he's like, I'll do the open challenges, whatever. That's another breakdown for another time. But I'm with Bryan on this. Let's continue.
I don't either.
I'm very skeptical after this segment.
Well, I mean, the thing
skeptical as to whether she can go is what they're saying. And now Dave, so Bryan is just having, trying Bryan. I give people too much the benefit of the doubt, I think, but I'm too nice. No, after I just went off so hard. But Bryan is at least, he's doing the fan marking out thing. Here's Dave.
Is that she got it from the figure 8, right?
Well, no, there was a moonsault off the post to the floor, and she landed weird, and that was supposedly where it happened. There was a spot in the match where she supposedly injured her knee, but watching this whole segment here, the way they did it, the way everybody responded to everything, it was just, I don't know, man. Maybe it'll turn out she's hurt, and maybe she tweaked it and she's gonna be fine. She doesn't need.
But they just overplayed it like they did with Jacob Fatu, and I'll get down with Bryan. See, I'm marking out with him here. I'll get down with him on this because I legit thought that she was gonna drop the crutch or like glom fucking Zarya with the clutch, and we're gonna get a Soul heel turn instead of a Zarya one because everyone expects the Zarya one.
Surgery and everything, and she'll just be out for a few weeks. Maybe she's got a serious injury. I don't know, but I watched this segment and I didn't buy it.
I wasn't that convinced either. It felt way too storyline, but it's one of those things. I have not had anyone confirm the injury to me, but I have had nobody not confirm it. So it also happens. That's the same thing that happened with Rollins. Although I did have people not confirm it, but
exactly. See, like, so that it's not the same thing. That he's such a dumbass.
Learn,
I love
baby,
it. Dude.
Learn, Meltzer Inferno.
Oh, I love it. So then it's not the same. He just describes a thing and then he just explains how this is different than that thing. Well, that one I did have people confirm not, and no one confirmed not to this one. So actually, I did have people confirm not before, but because I want to pretend like I was right about that story, Brian.
Well, after SmackDown on WWE.com, I don't know if it's still up there, but the WWE.com report claimed that she was hurt. And they don't usually do that when someone's actually hurt.
Fuck, what do you guys know? And then again, just the headline has Seth Rollins'
Soul's got a big
storyline injury made people question Sol Ruka's injury, and just again saying that there's mistrust and stuff like that we heard before in the other clip. He's just painting this narrative like no one knows what's even going on there. Meanwhile, we know that Tony Khan book shows last minute and shit like that. So Dave Meltzer here, he gives his take on the Seth Rollins stuff.
I mean, I think,
and so he's saying how Seth Rollins was the MVP of Raw and how WWE's lacking depth because of the Seth Rollins injury. Bro, Seth Rollins had 2 A players playing his backup dancers. The roster's so bloated. There's way too much depth in the fucking all these rosters as of late. So here's Dave's brain dead take.
I mean, Seth was the MVP of Raw.
I just disagree, man. I think everybody was hating on him. He was in the most shit, and there was tons of heat on him, and he was in like the through line. He's sort of like him and the bronze are the key thing. But I think people are loving the Braun shit more now that Rollins is kind of out of the picture. And I would say guys like CM Punk and Dom and Penta and shit have really stepped up as MVPs of Raw. I mean, Penta's going out there having bangers every fucking week. If he was doing that in AEW on every Dynamite, Dave would be licking his balls.
I mean, I think that like sometimes I think that people took him for granted, but then when he was gone, it's kind of like, oh my God, he's been carrying the show because Punk's not there every week. Roman's not there much, right? Jey Uso's really good for a ring entrance, but he ain't carrying the show. I mean, Seth Rollins is the guy carrying the show, and then those 2 guys are there to be, Lex Luger to Ric Flair, right? Where they're our future, and they're going to be standing there watching how he does it. And then on the other side.
So, like on Raw, as far as Raw is concerned, Seth isn't there. Okay, so who is there? Like, so there's not people who can wrestle. There's not bodies who can put, like, all he was doing was talking, and I'm not saying it was bad, but people were hating on the fucking talking, and he garnered a shitload of heat from the talking. I'm not even hating. Like, a lot of people are like, the Judgment Day fucking stinks, and I'm like, well, they're in every segment, and so that's undeniable with Seth. And I did kind of like when they added Becky, and they all started wearing black and shit. Like, it was starting to get over. Then he gets hurt. It's unfortunate. On the SmackDown side, I would say they have so many fucking people, especially in that tag division. It's like, bro, it's time to fucking split the profits up and give a bit more depth, especially with fucking Jacob not being around lately, but apparently he's going to come back soon. But he's been missed. I think Jacob's been missed on SmackDown the most.
It's worse. Jacob gets hurt, and he's been, he hasn't been around a lot, but it's like they had nobody for Cody. Like, I think that they didn't want to go with Solo. They protected Tala Tonga, but obviously I don't think they're anywhere near ready for him in a pay-per-view main event. I mean, maybe they should go. So you go with old reliable.
Yeah.
Drew
Does anybody else, like, here's the thing. We'll give Dave like a based flute for this one because he's actually being reasonable. I just wish he would cover the ratings like this, where you're just like talking reasonably and just saying actual shit, and notice he's not like except Batman as much, because he's actually speaking factual. That's what I think. But yeah, I'll give him a based flute, but Tala, I feel like they've kind of fucked up them doing the whole like GOD's face paint. Not that they fucked it up, it can't ever be recovered, but that guy's massive. Like, they should have had him they should have just booked him like when Big Show came back on SmackDown and he had kind of long hair. Or like, remember when he was on a rampage and he like chokeslammed GM Kurt Angle off the thing? They should have had Tala like snap and him be the one to take out or maybe not Jacob if they're trying to get him away from the Floodline. But you know what I mean? It's just, he's sort of like, again, he gets in the ring, you're like, oh, he's big, but we've seen wrestlers like trick him over the top rope easily and sort of like and of course the big guy, you want to outspeed and out athlete and outthink them and outmaneuver them and outsmart them, etc. But at the same time, it's like they could have done more and even gotten him in a title match. But then again, you want to like strap him up. Like Great Khali got strapped up. The Giant in WCW, he got strapped up right away. You know, so I don't know if WWE's like waiting till he's ready for a world title, but Tala taking on Rhodes or something. I mean, if Rhodes wasn't busy with movies and shit, yeah, I'm with Dave. Like that they could go there still. It's not like it's ruined, but I just think like they could have done more with Tala to really make him like a force on SmackDown. And especially with Jacob being gone, it kind of seemed like the GODs were dormant for a bit. Well, there's your chance to push Solo again. And it's not Solo's fault that he was really coming into his own when Jacob just got fucking white hot over.
They're anywhere near ready for him in a pay-per-view main event. I mean, maybe they should go.
They could just do it.
You go with
Dave on
Drew
that
McIntyre.
one.
But it's like he's the only one. I mean, that really surprised me when they announced Cody and Drew, you know, because that was supposed to be Survivor Series. And even then, it's like Cody literally just pinned Drew on a pay-per-view without a controversial ending. I mean, he just pinned him. And now it's like right back to the same feud. And
yeah, they want to have a long program.
Even know where he goes after this unless it's Lesnar, you know, which from the promos and everything, I think they're going in that direction.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. Hey, what do you guys think? Rhodes and Lesnar at fucking Mania? Interesting. Let me know what you guys
Seth
think.
was the MVP.
But yeah, I guess a little bit of base Meltzer. Like when he started speculating, he started doing the like, you know, it's like because he's just speculating on shit. But when he's just spitting and being a fan, he's actually like intelligible. I wish Dave would do more of that, and I wish he would talk about like the history of wrestling and shit a little bit more. And just speaking about it like matter of factly, not his opinion of whatever. Like when he went on that fucking news thing and he just starts spurging out about like, well, they lied about the attendance and shit. And the girl's sitting there like, I just want to mark out about Hogan, dude. So here's Bryan and Dave. There are some tropes WWE can't stop using, such as how they book three-way matches. Boy, is that like the stupidest thing in the world, Bryan. And it's funny because Tony Khan, all he does is fucking book he just says $400,000 on the line. It's great. And then fucking does a three-way and Dave has nothing to say about it. But building depth to this division and having Dom face people one-on-one, which then leads to a three-way conflict. I mean, that's the way you do it. Again, WWE can't stop using these tropes that they use. Dude, there's tropes in everything. There's tropes in movies, right? We covered this earlier. I'm not going to reiterate it, but the fact he would call this out when they've done a great job. I think the Intercontinental title division's awesome. You have El Grande looming. And the way that they've built to this, I think has been solid. And it's been like good television on Raw, and Miro and Dom, like Dom's super over. Dave's going to agree with that in just a moment. And, you know, Rusev is like a tweener. And then you have Penta, who's like the clear baby face, and he's having bangers every fucking week. So I just think for him to criticize this and not call out, well, $500,000, here's 4 of our women's teams and go. How the fuck do you give that shit like 3 3/4 stars, but then you're trashing the booking of this? It's just foolishness from there.
Then we've got Saturday night's main event. 3-way for the Intercontinental title, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Rusev. The same angle we've seen it 10,000 times in wrestling.
Okay, at least they didn't. Exactly. That's what all art is. You've seen the same movie 10,000 times too. It's just different actors, different coat of paint, different way of telling it. Avatar's Pocahontas, right? But people lost their minds over Avatar. Like, we fucking see this time and time again. It's Simpsons did it. WWE's done everything. Wrestling's already been done, but they're just acting like it's shit. It's not shit. What's better? Tony Khan just saying, here's a new belt. Here's a battle royal for a triple threat. Here's a fucking $500,000 for a triple threat. #1 contender match. Here's someone who wins every week on our show and 2 people from Ring of Honor. who only are on Dynamite when they lose? Who's gonna win? Right? Like that's what Tony goes to all the time. Never hear the same criticism.
History where two guys are having a number one contenders match. Dominic paid off Los Americanos to ruin the match, thinking it would result in no number one contender. And of course, it led to a three-way.
Boy, is that like the stupidest thing in the world? It's
Stupider than a fucking, more stupid than a fucking fish tank drowning. Or like a random needle through a cheek. Or it's like, I don't know, man. They just built to a triple threat. Dom has been dip, diving, dodging, ducking everybody. El Grande is aligning with Dom. And people have gotten key wins to put them in positions to get a title shot. Dom keeps weaseling his way out. And people just want him to have a fair shake. There'll be no DQ in this triple threat, which I think is kind of dumb. Also, I want to see a good old three-way dance where it's like elimination style. You don't see many of those. ECW used to do that.
The angle always goes exactly the same. And
the only thing that really irritated me about it is, okay, Dominic's an idiot. That's fine. He's a heel. But we had Wade Barrett, the announcer, when this match ended. He's like, oh, man, we're just not going to have a match. There's no number one contender.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, come on, brother. Like,
bro, I just can't stand. Yeah, so part of the show, the heel announcer goes, we just can't have, there's no number one contender, Cole. The match is off the table. Dom wins again. Yeah, the heel commentator says, oh, there's no number one contender. And I'm like, come on, brother. It's not a shoot, you fucking idiot. These guys, this is stupid. No, it's not really stupid. It's just like it's just kind of okay. It's just an easy way to get to it. It's just kind of lazy. It's kind of a trope. Like you guys said, okay. Not everything's going to be fucking Breaking Bad, final season. What was the final season? 6, 7? Not everything's going to be like the greatest shit you've ever seen all the time. But they do need a big match with popular characters for Saturday night's main event. And what's stupid is fucking expecting Wade Barrett to in kayfabe like, oh, well, we know it'll be a triple threat. We know, we've seen it a million times, Cole. Let me just spoil the announcement before they announce it. Because that's good marketing. Oh, you don't think people don't know? Yeah, some people don't know. Kids watch the show. Some people, it's new to them. Some people just became wrestling fans again after the first time in a long time. Some people are just new wrestling fans because of characters like Dirty Dom and Penta and shit. We see that in the ticket sales that have doubled and they're selling out everywhere they go. And the ratings are maintaining. Like, fuck, man.
Number one contender.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, come on, brother. Like, have a little credibility.
I know.
The only guy in the world
crazy.
that thinks this is not going to be a three-way.
The only guy in the world. He doesn't literally, like Bryan, this is what I mean. It's just disingenuous. This isn't even real criticisms. It's not even real.
Bryan.
It's not even real.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they've only done this 50 times.
So then Hangman was lip syncing over Tony Schiavone. So Schiavone was in on a beer bottle attack on Samoa Joe. You guys won't even say that. And even I don't, because it's like, well, it's a cheat. It's wrestling. It's like, that was the bit. It was funny. It was actually a good spot. Bro, what the fuck are you talking about, man? This is crazy.
It always ends up the same.
It's kayfabe. We know it's a work. He's the heel.
Yeah. I mean, that's how they set up three ways constantly.
Well, you'd think the commentary would know. Yeah, but he's healing. His whole thing is like, well, no number one contender, so Dom escapes with the title, Cole.
And then we've got Saturday.
Do you not like, whoa, dude, we're in fucking wacky land when they do shit like this. So Bryan had this to say that Lyra and Alexa nearly had a wardrobe malfunction on Raw. Most people didn't even notice. I think most people noticed. It was clipped like right away.
Lyra makes a hot tag, and she hits the ring. She's running wild, and she grabs Alexa Bliss, and she gives her the Nightwing. But as she lifts her up onto her shoulder behind her back, somehow her hair gets tangled in Alexa's top. And I don't have any idea how it happened. But she hits this Nightwing, which is like a Michinoku driver, and you just see her head get yanked forward because she's connected to Alexa's top. And so she hits the move, but she doesn't immediately make a cover because she's like trying to get her hair out. And then, the ref's like waiting. So she hooks the leg. The ref counts 2. Alexa kicks out, and they're still trapped. And so Lyra's like, she's yanking on her hair, and she's talking to Alexa, and they're talking to each other. And you just see the camera pan away to the side, and the camera goes over to Charlotte. And you can see Charlotte looking over like, what the heck is going on here? And so Alexa has a double top. And so she literally unzips the first top. She takes it off. She has the other top underneath. That
did she unzip it and shit? She just ripped her she wears like a cut up shirt and then it's like tied on the back. So he's like speaking like it's a fucking zip up hoodie she's wearing, bro. She just like the shirt got tied around her hair and she just like slipped out of the thing and she has her gear underneath.
Doesn't untangle Lyra. So they go back and you can see Lyra rolling out of the ring. She's rolling out of the ring with a vest connected to her head. So she rolls out to the ground. You can see people running over, like trying to untangle her from this deal. And like all of this is happening in the middle of the match. And like if you look on the chat here, like
does Alexa wear like a vest now? Holy shit.
Most people didn't even
Vecna's vest.
But notice it. So it was actually, they did an incredible job solving this problem.
I just thought she would like tie her shirt around her top or whatever.
Live in the middle of this match.
Yeah, so I don't know. They solved it pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know why the Observer says like most people didn't even notice it in quotes unless Bryan just rattled that off there. But I think everyone noticed it. Like you just broke it down play by play what everybody saw on Raw. So. But here's some more trying, crying, lying, frying, flying Bryan here. Okay, and he says, is it time for Punk to turn heel? And let's hear his fantasy mark booking.
At the end of the day, I watched this and I thought, I wonder if CM Punk is turning heel this weekend. Because everyone's thinking it's going to be Jimmy, or it's going to be Jay, or we had that whole feud and LA Knight was fighting with everybody. And the one guy who hasn't teased it is CM Punk. So
he could do it.
I could see him turning heel and winning that title.
He could do it. We just had John Cena do that, though.
Yeah, but it sucked.
But it sucked. It sucked. They ended the heel run because it sucked. It just overall sucked. Holy fuck, dude.
It early.
I know. That would almost be because Punk is like a real big draw right now as a or at least big reaction.
He's a real draw right now. He's a big notice when Dave bullshits, he just can't even speak. He's except not a big draw. What are you talking about, bro? Heel babyface. Punk gets reactions. Punk's a draw.
Yeah, but it sucked. And they had to end it early.
I know. That would almost be because Punk is like a real big draw right now as a or at least big reaction. What big draw? I mean, it's like I don't know. Like I think he'll be better as a heel than Cena was.
Well, you got to remember when he first went to AEW years ago.
It's like, what about Seth? Like, why are we just comparing it to Cena? Because they're two legends. Okay. Punk's there week in and week out. So it's like just a different thing than Cena was even. It's like sort of incomparable in a way.
He was teasing that day's going to come when I'm going heel.
Oh, yeah, he basically outright said.
And he's, I'm sure, been waiting for years and years and years and years. And there will come a time where no matter what he does, he ain't going to get booed. So it's almost like if you're going to do it, sooner the better.
I just think you can't tease LA Knight and the Usos all turning and then just like, nope, it's Punk turning. I just don't think that would work very well for them personally. But Dave Meltzer has this to say about Dominic Mysterio. Now, we know how much he loves CMLL, right? But Dave might convert to AAA again. Let's give him a bass flute. We give Dave his due and he deserves it, right? Now, I don't think that maybe making a Stone Cold comparison is fair. in like any generation. It's like comparing some shit to Hulk Hogan, or it's like, how do you really compare it, right? Stone Cold was a megastar, Cena was a megastar, Hulk was a megastar. You could toss any of them up who was bigger. I think Hulk Hogan maybe is the most mainstream of them all. Maybe John Cena's working his way. I don't know. Stone Cold was huge. He was also huge when The Rock was huge, though, and shit. So, and the NWO was fucking huge around the same time stuff. So it is like, you know, it's hard to like compare it to any other thing, but Dom is in his own lane for sure right now, and even Dave has to acknowledge that shit. So let's take
All right, we also got Heroes Immortales, AAA.
Dominic Mysterio is so over. It's like incredible how over he is there. I mean, I know it, but when he comes out, I mean, it's like, it's so different, you know, the crowd at the AAA show, because you know, they had a sellout and they were loud. They were very loud. But like Dominic comes out and it's just like, I mean, it's like, you know, like Stone Cold. Or
I just think that's too high of a. It's all good. Everyone has their
level.
things.
I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable how.
But it is crazy. Dom is just insane over, and then in like on Raw, yes, he gets cheers and shit, but people boo the fuck out of him still. And it's just incredible to see Eddie's son doing such great.
Well, I mean, probably more like a Mystico or
see,
Santo.
and then Mystico, Bryan.
You know, he comes out, he wears his uncle's mask, or his great uncle, and then he, you know, takes it off. And so he's this super giant babyface. He wrestled Dragon Lee. Grande Americano comes in. Grande's a heel, and you know, works as the heel, total babyface to the crowd. Vikingo and Dragon Lee work as total babyfaces. They're the heels to the crowd, and Dominic is like the biggest babyface of them all, and he works exactly like.
Do you know who usurps Dom though? If he were to come out, and maybe not for a longer period of time, but in that fucking moment, Alberto. That's the only guy. He's like, they put Alberto in AAA. To AAA fans, it's like the CM Punk thing. They're just chanting for Alberto every show, and he is backstage. That's the fucking thing, right? But with Punk, he was like out of the company entirely. With Alberto, they like know he's there, and every show they're chanting for Alberto. That's the only guy. That's like almost the match to make is fucking Alberto Dom eventually. But I think we'll see Dom and Rey Mysterio throw down for that AAA Mega Grand Campeon, right? Like, come on, man. Rey Mysterio still got a bit of mileage in him, and I would love to see like a mask versus hair, and then Dom retire his dad by taking his mask and shit. I think that'd be gangster, but who knows if they take it to that limit. But yeah, dude, maybe Dave is cheating on CMLL a little bit, Dave. Huh? You cheating on CMLL a little bit, buddy?
Sometimes in life, you got to be a hoe.
Works in the United States as far as that slimy heel thing. And it just doesn't matter because those people just love Dominic.
Those people, Bryan. Whoa, Dave. Come on, dude. Those people. You know those people. They drink Cuervo, Bryan.
And Grande.
Oh, man. So now we have Dave talking about AEW. So let's sort of compare him talking about, you know, we just heard him talking about WWE, mostly negative, putting some shit over, fantasy mark booking a little bit, having a couple sensible takes, not the most egregious shit ever. I think his arguments and Twitter denial was the most egregious, offensive shit thus far. But let's compare that. Let's contrast that with how he talks about AEW, how Bryan criticizes AEW and those things, and then we can do whataboutisms with WWE here. So Dave has this to say and Bryan have this to say. This is the headline here from Observer. It was a tough week for ratings, even with the competition of all those NBA games. I'm not shocked, but it's not a good number. So damn, again, Dave being fucking based a little bit. Hopefully, let's listen to this thing, but like, damn. That might be a record for base take Dave flutes, man.
I do have the
base Meltzer
ratings.
Okay.
From WrestleNomics, 477 1,000.08.
So look at this. Q4 average estimated tickets distributed, max simulcast, and then they put a star next to that, cable primetime media rank year over year in Q3. So just showing their fucking decline. At least the Observer's being honest about that much. And again, they have to start being this way because it's all about to come out. So Dave's just trying to get ahead of shit now. But he still puts the spin on it with his tweets and stuff like that to the surface level goobers.
Yeah. Well, it's tough competition, but that's obviously, it's a new normal, but that's still under any circumstances. Even with the competition of all those NBA games, I'm not shocked, but it's not a good number. I don't think.
Thank God,
I mean, NXT
dude.
was 525 and 0.07. So, and those two are whatever. I mean, like NXT usually has more viewers, obviously.
But wasn't NXT on like the opening day? So isn't that usually more than like day 2 of fucking? And I get it. It's like, well, some people are just starting their seasons and stuff, but still, it's just like, at least he said he's about to make excuses, or he is trying to a little bit. He's trying to worm around and wriggle, but at least he fucking did say, well, it just shouldn't matter. It's the norm. Thank you, dude. Thank you for once.
Based on only TV numbers. I mean, obviously,
the max numbers.
Dynamite's gonna have way more viewers.
Way more if you include Max. Okay, never mind. You're a lying cuck. Fuck you.
Dummy. Yeah.
Oh my God! You just have
The
to
best
go.
guy is Tony Khan.
Way more, Bryan. Shit.
Everyone.
Then everyone. Then everybody else.
NXT's TV, obviously is in a lot more homes than TNT.
The excuse.
And 18 to 49, it's usually pretty close. NXT had, the opening night NBA game, which did a giant number. So, yeah, I mean, this is a tough week.
Oh man, fucking Dave, man. But then does he say? I wonder if he points out if like SmackDown did well and shit or like he's not noting how people predicted NXT would do worse than they did as well.
I do have.
So Dave Meltzer, he talks about a little bit of AEW WWE crossover. I actually want to start with this clip. All good. But he talks about like Phoenix and Penta leaving AEW and going to WWE and how it's the wrong move. And he's more confident that was the wrong move.
I thought that when they left, that Penta probably would do better in WWE and that Phoenix would not do better. And I thought that, it probably was the right move if those two, I mean, they're brothers and they want to be, and they're close and everything. But I thought it was like Penta go, seriously, you're better off in WWE. But
why? When did you say that?
Don't push to go together. And Phoenix was
why? Why would you not push to go together? Dave's just talking out of his ass. He never said that.
Gung ho and they're brothers and everything. But I thought that Phoenix was
gung ho.
Now, I think that
no. See, this is Dave simping for Tony McCann. Fuck that shit, Dave. No, Penta go. You didn't stir the pot. You didn't ruffle feathers. You didn't talk shit to Tony Khan. You didn't fucking. It didn't get public. You aren't the one who talked to Dr. Chris Featherstone or whatever the fuck that guy who works with Vince Russo is. You're not the one who talked to that guy and told the story. So Penta, you go, all's good. You're great. But Phoenix, you should have stayed. Aren't you stupid? Because the best guy is Tony Khan. You pissed him off because you went to the fuck you, Dave.
It's, more and more clear that he did. I'm Dragon Lee as well. I think I'm not as sure with Dragon Lee because, it's like Dragon Lee, if he was in AEW, he would be in the LFI.
Exactly, doing nothing on ROH as a backup dancer to Sammy Guevara. In WWE, he's been on maternity leave, so I don't get why you're like, even Dragon Lee. He's in AAA now, feuding with fucking Dominic and El Grande and in a 4-way with El Vikingo, right? And it's like the hottest shit in AAA, bro. Dave, you're melting. You're melting.
Because those are his brothers. He'd be in that group. and that group is just kind of there, just kind of like Dragon Lee in the LWO is just kind of there. So they're, sometimes I'll go like,
See, even in the
Great
LWO
Bandito's
anymore?
doing compared to Dragon Lee because they're similar talents, but Bandito does have more charisma of the two. But I think that I'm not as sure about Dragon Lee. I think
Just buries him for Bandito. See, this is why Bandito gets the fucking 5 stars, Brian.
Dragon Lee is kind of an even one. You can it's still debatable. The
Just
jury's
loves
not out.
Bandito.
For Ray Phoenix from day one, I expected this, and I think that has come true. That was he going to get a big push in AEW? No, but he would be. The difference is that he would be in hellacious matches in AEW. And he's really not in WWE.
He is, bro. He's wrestling. He wrestles every other SmackDown at least, and he just has crazy ass tag matches with different partners and shit. He'd be in hellacious matches, bro. He's done that on the indies forever. You don't know about Ray Phoenix? Maybe he wants to chill and work WWE style a bit. You ever think of that, man? It's crazy. My prediction was wrong where I thought Phoenix was going to get over Penta style. And I didn't think WWE Universe would connect with the fucking Penta the way they have. I thought they'd be more into Ray Phoenix, but I was wrong about that. But as far as either of them being successful in WWE, I don't know if anyone really questioned Penta. Penta, bro, he should have been looming around the AEW world title. If you really want to break it down, he's a world champion everywhere he's gone. I just think they were both tragically misused in AEW. There was a bit there in the tag division when they were cooking. They had a really good cage match and a little story there with Jurassic Express and shit. But again, it was sort of like two teams everyone's cheering for. The Death Triangle with Pac. It's a fucking, I'm sorry, it's a bad name, and that was just shit. No, you know what I mean? Fucking no one needed to see that. I don't care if they're down with Pac or not. It's just, I don't think that was the way to push those guys either. But I guess everybody has their own opinions. Speaking of opinions, we covered this. Dave Meltzer says FTR and the Bucks are the greatest tag team of the last 20 years. Maybe I'm trying to think over the last 20 years, what teams. I mean, there's been Motor City. They weren't really in WWE. Some people might rate teams like Rated RKO is the best tag team ever, but my only problem with that, me personally, I kind of don't agree with that because, again, we broke it down. Tag team wrestling wasn't that prominent for a long time in WWE, and it was just them throwing single stars together to then team with other single stars. And I get it, DX was around, so maybe you could rate Triple H and HBK as one of the greatest tag teams ever. But what tag matches of theirs are you do you really fondly remember? So I don't know. You could make the argument that I don't know about the last 20 fucking years. That's a lot of time that you'd have to think about, but I would say some of the most influential and prominent tag teams over the last 20 years, 15 years, all are teams that were mostly outside of WWE. For sure, you kind of had to look to TNA for women's wrestling and tag wrestling and really insane X Division, cruiserweight shit if you were into that. You kind of had to look elsewhere for that, into Ring of Honor and stuff. So either way, that's his opinion. AEW pay-per-views always deliver, is what the Observer says. You're going to get your $50 worth based on just the fact that you're going to get incredible wrestling, Brian. So, again, the wrestling moves? I mean, to me, Wrestle Dream was better than All Out. I enjoyed some of these matches way better than All Out. I think incredible wrestling, though, is, again, it's you could say that fucking Rhodes and Rollins and that last PLE had incredible wrestling, but I think people want just a little bit more than that. But let's hear what these guys have to say. I don't know if Wrestle Dream is worth $50 though. Gotta be honest, man. All Out, even that, I don't think so. I liked Wrestle Dream more than All Out. All In, sure. It's a big event. They go all out for it. Pun intended, I guess. I don't or they go all in for All In, I guess. But there was a 500K match, and then literally the next Dynamite, they're 100K match with the Bucks in it, or whatever the fuck. It's I don't know. But I'll be honest, though. The Bucks and Jurassic Express had one of my favorite matches on the show up until like they just went like 5 minutes too long. And Joe and Hangman, I mean, I think they're doing great stuff. Joe's always going to do great shit, though. I've been begging for him to be in the world title picture forever, and they have a rematch coming up, and hopefully Joe wins. I don't know if Tony's going to do it, but that'd be awesome if Joe won. Anyways, let's just hear their take on Wrestle Dream and why AEW is so worth the money that then was all refunded by fucking Amazon.
Stupid idiot.
And I don't mean to laugh, but it's just funny how it all blows up in Dave's face. Amazon, that's like a 30% increase. And then this pay-per-view, they had to give it all back, dude. And then
for looking at that show going like, there's going to be some good wrestling on it, but the feuds outside of Moxley and Darby didn't feel like there was a reason to have these big matches. But that's a pretty consistent pay-per-view audience. And I think that says a lot for the people who are buying these shows right now.
Well, I think one of the things is for AEW pay-per-views for their audience is, this year, I mean, really this year, the shows they've delivered one great show after another. I mean,
disagree. I think this year for AEW has been their worst pay-per-views if you compare it. And why is that? Because it's all been done. They've had to get, again, we make the joke, what is Darby going to pull a balloon out of his ass? I'm tired of saying it, but it's like, they just keep every pay-per-view you go, oh, they're going to do some sicko shit to try and up the last sicko shit. And it's just become kind of cringe. The formatting's not that good. And I would say there's too many fucking matches and they go too long and they've been wonking around with the times. And I just think that if you compare like year 2 AEW, year 1 and 2 pay-per-views to this year, it's for surely behind year 1 and 2. You've been around for 6 years. So 1 and 2, it's definitely behind. 3, I mean, 3, it started to get, so like 3 and 4, you could argue, if we're ranking shit here, but and it's all subjective. And if you want to see car crash mayhem, if you want to see the Rizzler in a match on the pre-show, and then you want to see somebody get a fucking pineapple shoved up their ass in the main event or whatever, sure, this is the great events, right? I even like the FTR spot where they were brawling through to the fucking into the pay-per-view. I actually like that. It's unique. You don't see it all the time. As long as you don't do it all the time, you haven't seen WWE do that. Now, again, I also defend people who hate on that because like Taco Bell commercials aren't popping up in the middle of WWE shows. If we're going to play What About WWE, it's like, so they, if that happened to WWE, you'd be like, oh, just a random fuck up. It doesn't happen all the time. You get a pass. With AEW, the feed cuts out and shit. We've gone over it. You don't get as big of a pass. I get why people would say it looked amateurish and shit, but I liked it, but just to say like you get the best pay-per-views every year consistently, the best pay-per-views. I don't know. I think this year they've been like mostly forgettable, honestly.
Like the show, it's actually like I've never seen anything, even with, I guess maybe New Japan at its peak.
So when we're roasting,
when they were from,
so he's saying it's better than peak New Japan, where you gave Okada Omega 7 stars and shit, bro. So when we read his star ratings for this event earlier, what did we say? Or if you're watching this in clip form, it's in another clip probably, okay? But I talked about this. So when I read the star ratings, I went, so was this the greatest wrestling show of all time and we just all don't know about it? Like, come on, man. Dave is literally going, man, it's better than peak Nuge. Holy shit.
Whatever it was, 2015 to 2020.
He actually thinks
that period where the New Japan big shows were really, really good. But even with New Japan, I think the main events of New Japan were comparable to AEW, or at least close. But from start to finish, there were some cards at that level, but not
at that level. But like what the moves they did, Dave? I really need to know what he thinks.
Really,
obviously, I don't know why I'm asking all the time.
Just the depth is
the depth of what of the fucking moves that the Young Bucks did that they do every single match, even on Dynamite. The depth of Will Ospreay will take a doomsday device tope suicida off someone's shoulders onto his neck on the floor on Collision. When Claudio threw the guy on the pay-per-view, but he also threw the guy on Collision and did the same spot after we already saw Oba Femi over in WWE do the same spot. Like, what depth are you talking about? Oh, the fishbowl drowning. That's such depth, man. Oh, you mean Joe had a good psychology match that didn't go for too long with Hangman? And it was like the best match on the show? And it was like some shit you'd see in WWE? Maybe a little more strong style than that, maybe a little more kick outy than that, spotty than that, if you will. Now, Joe don't play. His matches are always good, but him just saying this is like the greatest card ever. Name one memorable thing other than the fishbowl. What's one thing that stands the test of time, even if you want to talk about garbage shit? Shane McMahon being thrown through the King of the Ring glass is memorable too. You know what I mean? Tell me about like what actually is anybody remembering other than the fishbowl thing. And you're talking like this is the greatest fucking card of all time. It's just delusional.
And I think that that's probably what is keeping the pay-per-view strong. It's not keeping.
See, and Dave is like, it's not the promotion, the marketing, the pay-per-view still doing strong, even though Amazon just had to refund 30% of the buys apparently, or the 30% extra buys they're getting because of Amazon or whatever Dave invented. But he has to invent that they're really strong when I just don't think they're that strong. I think he's just capping about that. I think it's around 100,000 buys. You can just narrow it down. Dave says it's way higher than that, so you can kind of lower it. We'll go with 100,000, and which is good. I mean, that's good for them. But shit that's happening on the show that we haven't seen yet is what's making people buy a ticket. But then Dave uses cope saying, well, WWE's marketing's way better and all this shit. So it's like, I don't know. It's just more kind of flip-floppy shit logistically with Dave. He applies one thing to one thing and then he won't apply it. The
other number's strong, but it's keeping the pay-per-view
We don't know the number. Like, what's the pay-per-view number?
Kind of know that, like, well, if you're someone who's going to pay $50, you're going to get your $50 worth based on just the fact you're going to get incredible wrestling. And the fact that I think that because
it's just the 100,000 people who watch Collision, even if it's on at 5 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday.
Month after month, year after year, they've been pretty consistent at that. They've been able to maintain a pretty loyal pay-per-view audience.
Just a loyal 100,000, Dave. Dave, it's just a loyal 100,000 people. Like, just admit that part.
Audience.
So moving along here, let's see here. Bryan Alvarez questions whether a countout was the best way to set up a blood and guts match, which kind of hard to disagree with him there. I mean, so let's check out what he says.
So Kyle grabs Moxley, puts him in a guillotine, and suddenly the ref counts him out.
Yeah, double count out.
This fucking crowd is furious. They're chanting bullshit. They're so mad.
Yeah.
And the finish did suck. And
they don't do double countouts in AEW hardly ever.
Well, that's not even the issue. The issue is this.
They should fucking do some countouts in AEW.
Every promotion on the face of the earth, a countout is never going to work because everybody brawls on every show. Yeah. There's a brawl outside where they're out there for minutes on end and nobody gets counted out.
True that, man. Yeah, that's very true. I don't know, though, in WWE, like, they'll always, during the commercial breaks on Raw, like, they'll go out for a little bit, right? Because you're there working the live crowd and shit during that, or, like, the international audience or whatever, and you're just kind of killing time. But in WWE, I would say it's much less. Like, you see the count out all the time. Maxine just counted out the fucking IC champ and shit like that. So, like, you do see it way more frequently. In AEW, it doesn't matter specifically. So when Bryan's like, every promotion, well, like, bro, you don't even watch TNA and shit. So, like, I don't know, man. I just...
So because it happens on every show, a count-out makes no sense. Because when you do a count-out, you're trying to surprise people or whatever. And so the ref ends up counting faster than usual. Mm-hmm. And it's like the crowd sees it as they got screwed.
But based Bryan and based Meltzer for it, calling it out in AEW, but then they tried to say in every promotion, this isn't just AEW. Nah, it's more just AEW. Like,
it should have been a double DQ with both sides running in, and then then.
Oh, did you text that to Tony?
Settle this is blood and guts. So I mean,
and then, but then even him saying it should have been double DQ with both sides running in, Bryan, Okay, they do that all the time too. That's the fucking problem. It's always just everyone running in AEW.
It's sort of the same thing.
It's like that on fucking Raw too. I'm sorry. Like every fucking show, it's just 10 million run-ins after every match and shit. But I mean, it's also wrestling. You're trying to heat shit up. You're trying to, have beef. At least in WWE, they'll cut to the back and give you like a storyline throughout the evening and stuff like that.
It would have been better because they ended up doing the run-ins anyway right after.
But exactly, Dave is kind of right there. Well, they did the run-ins anyway, Brian. Exactly. Just have the run-ins. It's garbage.
Yes.
It's all garbage anyways.
Should have done that in the match.
Should have done that.
But like no one cares. That's the problem. They're right. Like who's even watching?
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. Yeah, at least Dave being critical of it. But again, what I'm starting to notice, right? And again, this is why you guys come to PWT, because your boy Philly Phil points this shit out, right? So with Dave, man, he's starting to, these are the things when he gets bummed out and he gets upset with AEW stuff. And we've seen this before. We just didn't catch on. Maybe we did a little bit, but when Dave gets bummed about some of these booking calls, it's because he's texting, I pushed for, he's admitted it. He's texting Tony Khan and pushing for, I mean, I said we should do this, but they chose not to do that. What do you mean they chose not? So that was a factor, So Dave is telling Tony, you should do this and that and shit. And then he gets bummed out. At least that's the story I'm sticking with. Prove me wrong, Dave.
So Kyle grabs
me. Study and learn me. And so, yeah, that was the AEW stuff. Let me check in with chat. We got one more bit here. Okay. And see, we didn't go 3 hours. We're going about 2.5. So still, we're trying to work on, getting that down a bit, but a very fun episode here. Hundo Mo for 2 says, don't be a poor person, Brian. Poor people don't like AEW.
Poor people don't like AEW.
That fucking rules. Thank you so much for the support. And yeah, guys, so we have one more bit here. And it involves, bro, we broke this down. Bro, let me tell you on PWT live show, bro, we talked about these marks, how I worked these marks, bro. Dave Meltzer wrote a whole story. Let me tell you about this mark, Dave Meltzer, bro. So we talked about this a bit, but we didn't dive into like the Dave side of it. Vince Russo swerved everybody. He made this announcement like he's getting back into writing wrestling and stuff. And this sort of lends credence to Billy Boy, who said on his show like a few weeks ago or like a month ago or something, he said on his thing that he was like, dude, I know Vince Russo, and Vince thought Triple H would like give him a job in wrestling and shit. And some people were like, or did I just say Vince? Triple H. Vince Russo. Yes, I just did because okay. Vince Russo thought with Vince McMahon gone, right? There's all these Vinces. First names, pal. Pronouns, pal. So Vince Russo with Vince McMahon being gone thought that Triple H would give him a job because he really pushed for guys like Jeff Jarrett and Triple H, like depending what companies. And, there's certain guys he pushed for. We even heard from Jim Cornette saying that Vince Russo thought of a team called the Elite with Shawn Michaels and Triple H in it. Pretty crazy. Fast forward, you see the Bucks, who fucking just pretty much emulated the Click their whole goddamn lives and paid homage to them and whatnot. But Vince Russo, bro, he worked the marks. He sort of alluded to, hey, man, I got a job in pro wrestling again. And it's like, shit, I thought he would never work in wrestling again, but maybe him not getting a job, and that's why him and Coachman are kind of sour grapes. That's what some people theorize anyways. Okay, and maybe that's true. He did want to get back in wrestling, and it is, man. He wrote 9 episodes. Bro, I stood at the guardrail. Bro, let me tell you about the professional wrestling ring. Bro, I'm a juggalo now. Woot woot. Where's my fago? Right? And he announced, like, everybody thought he was going to go to NWA for some reason. That's the rumors that were swirling around. That's largely in part or because of Conan and K100, which we will talk about that because it sort of drummed up the beef between Jeff Lane and all this shit again, right? K100 and the brand, they start fucking beefing again back and forth because of this as well. And so Vince Russo was on his show and he kind of made fun of K100, like, oh yeah, I'm going to NWA, bro, and da-da-da-da-da. And then, you know, Dave Meltzer reacted to it and he kind of buried NWA. He kind of put TNA over. It started an argument. Dave then responds to Vince Russo's Swerve because he's all pissed because, I don't know, maybe he got worked or he bit on the story. It doesn't really matter. I think this is interesting, though, because JCW sold 2K tickets for Vince Russo's return. And I mean, that's more than some Dynamite sell. And they had Hannibal there. I'm Hannibal. I'm here. Can I bleed a little bit? I'll do a death match spot. I'll vlog it for you. No, shut on Hannibal. I do impressions here, folks, okay? It's part of the shtick over here. So, Vinny Roo, he's back in the wrestling biz. They drew a bit of a house, I guess, so it's helping the biz. I mean, that's good. And now people are kind of talking about JCW. I think it was a bit of like a, because it wasn't NWA, and I think Billy Corgan teaming up with like a Bischoff or a Vince Russo or something is not a bad idea, but he also might want to just avoid that mess entirely. You know, when he got involved with TNA, he may have heard stories and shit like that. Who fucking knows? But Dave just sort of buries NWA and then actually kind of puts over like, well, if he worked for TNA, that could be interesting. He needs to stay the fuck far away from TNA. They're in finally an upwards trajectory. We need to continue that trend. But yeah, here's Dave and I believe Bryan's take.
What is this Vince Russo?
Pardon me, Gareth
stuff.
Garrett, right? Is that his name? I don't even know his name. I don't care
about NWA.
Sounds like he's going to work for NWA. What does it matter? You know, it's
what does it matter?
NWA.
Can you?
It's NWA. So like they can't have a turnaround and a rise from the ashes like fucking TNA did. What the fuck?
Imagine all the ideas that he's been sitting on.
Yeah, I hope he does well. You know, I mean, it's not gonna, you know, doesn't. I mean, if it was like TNA, I would go. That's pretty interesting news.
Mm-hmm.
But NWA, I mean, nobody talks about NWA at all. Billy,
you know, I try to hype them up. There's some people there like Kenzie Page, Tiffany Neves. I think the Tonga twins are there. I'm a Billy Corgan fan. Like, who doesn't like the Pumpkins, you know? Or at least like one or two of their songs, even if you're not like a diehard fan. Yeah, I don't want to hate on NWA like that. It just sucks that the pandemic hit and then they stacked all their chips on Marty Scurll and then shit got wacky all at the same time for them because Power was on an upwards trajectory and then they like fired Jim Cornette. Then Marty Scurll was their big get and then the pandemic hit. So they had to cancel their pay-per-view, I'm pretty sure. And then Marty Scurll had the speaking out movement or whatever. So it just fucking blew up their spot. But Billy's hung in there strong and yeah, dude.
Corgan is exhausted, unable to get television. Right?
Yo, hold on. So now he's just talking shit and saying he's exhausted, unable to get television. Well, they were gonna be on the CW, I think, and then they ruined their shit by the Sinister Minister doing that blow spot on that pay-per-view. It was either that or they turned down the CW or some shit. Some stupid shit. It was something stupid. And then now they're on Tubi or Roku or whatever. So hopefully they continue that. I just want to hear what he says here. Like, look at this dismissive bullshit. This is what you guys did to TNA. You dismissed it, and now look at TNA.
I mean, nobody talks about NWA at all. Billy Corgan is exhausted, unable to get television, right? Maybe he can go and go, hey, this is the guy who wrote Raw, you know, in 1997, 1998, when they were doing giant numbers. He was the guy who wrote when Steve Austin was on. Maybe that will help him get TV. Maybe. Stranger things have happened. I mean, you know,
Sure, the Demogorgon attack when Bill gets Bob, sorry, Bill. When Bob gets taken out by the Demogorgon, that was awfully strange.
I mean, Eric Bischoff's in charge of
when Barbara went missing in the season 1 by the pool. I mean, it was quite strange.
Freestyle Wrestling Company. You know, Billy Corgan was never anti-Russo at all. He was a pro-Russo guy. So that doesn't surprise me. Why doesn't somebody give somebody new a shot?
I agree, but this is why, bro, because it's somebody you glazed. Here's the newest guy. Ready? Tony Khan. And you glazed him and put him over, and it was the worst
The best
thing.
guys, Tony Khan.
Some people say one of the worst things to happen to pro wrestling fandom, to happen to wrestling in general, inflating fucking contracts and stuff like this. I'm all for the boys getting paid, but like on the business end of it, you know, they're like, what the fuck? We're overpaying for. So, I mean, there's a lot of negatives to it, and he's just had bad creative overall. Punk and Rhodes left. There's been no good creative really in the company since, you know, few and far between. You get Tony Storm has a hit every now and again. You know, Blake Monroe was pretty good. I thought Hikaru Shida ruled too, even though, again, she was just booked in match after match. But it's like she's a Joshi, you know, her English, if it's not the strongest, she's got a fucking, that's kind of how you get her over. There was some good shit early on, but it was always like Rhodes trying to tell stories with his brother, like that first story early on. I mean, that was awesome. And they leaned into the fact like, well, we're kind of an internet smart company. They leaned into it earlier. Now they want to pretend they're not while leaning into it with the shit they put on the show. That's my biggest problem. It's like, fuck, pick a lane, pick an identity. Is this kid friendly, or is the Rizzler on the show, or are we impaling Moxley with fucking spike bats? It's just like, find an identity. Are you trying to look like WWE?
But it's NWA, and it's like, unless they get viable television, it's kind of like a moot point.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but maybe Russo could help them get to that point as well. So maybe it's not
what is this
entirely to shake things up creatively. But speaking of shaking things up, though, Vince Russo, you know, he's an investor. So not only does he work for fucking JCW, but he like invested in the company and shit. So that's cool. I mean, shout out Vince Russo. And again, Jim Cornette hates the fucking Juggalos and Insane Clown Posse and shit. He cut an infamous promo on them. I can't wait to hear the one he's going to cut again. Not that like I hate ICP or Juggalos or anything like that. I'm down with the clown, but it's just funny. Like whenever someone cuts a promo on someone, it's fucking funny. You know, it doesn't really matter. I don't have a dog in the fight. But yeah, Vince Russo was revealed as the investor of JCW. Let's take a look at this. And he swerved everyone.
Sign his own death warrant. I'll beat him.
Everyone, bro. I showed up with Big Vito LaGrasso, bro. I invented the FBI. Let me tell you, bro, about Big Vito LaGrasso. And then there's Zach Amico on commentary.
No. Fucking serious?
What are you doing? Zach Amico on commentary. You fucking serious?
Doing, man?
He's like a roast comedian.
I told you none of that dumb shit. Get in the corner. Oh shit! It's Vince Russo! Holy fucking shit!
I mean, this was the inevitable thing. Like Cornette hates Juggalos. He hates Russo. I mean, it's fucking inevitable that he showed up in JCW.
Thank you, fuck you, bye, boom. Vince Russo's in JCW lunacy. How we're gonna do things here. Calm down.
So there you go, man. If you guys are into JCW lunacy, and Dave Meltzer reacts to that. But first, just a little context. Like these guys are arguing over who put the story out and shit. So let's just read this because this involves Dave Meltzer. So this guy says, yeah, you're being disingenuous. So like, look at, they're arguing over like the dirt sheets and shit. Okay. So basically they're saying that Vince Russo confirmed. Here's the clip. It's not long. Here's Vince Russo confirming he works for NWA. And people are just mad because they got worked by dirt sheets and a fucking writer.
I spent like last week.
So this is them sort of trashing Keeping It 100, who were like speculating on the shit, I believe.
I heard too that you might be. Mac, I got to tell you this, and this is the God honest truth. The first 9 shows I wrote, first of all, somebody gets concussed, and we talk about concussion protocol.
These are just like rumors. He's being a smartass. But yeah, this guy says NWA.
Is that right, man? But
or MLW, maybe that was the other one.
Yeah, and then they joked about maybe you work for NWA MLW, and then Vince is like, "That's right." So this sicko's like, "You confirmed that's what he said. That's what you said, right?" So then Jeff Lane goes, "I told you wrestling marks were low IQ." Meltzer reports Vince is joining NWA, and like Meltzer's at the helm of this. Again, it's just another story that blew up in his face. So Meltzer reports Vince is joining NWA. Vince says, "Yeah, they nailed that one, bro." And this goof can't even understand sarcasm. There is something mentally wrong with wrestling marks. They all need to be locked up for the betterment of society. Just goes hard on the fucking sickos. Right? And like, yeah, I mean, hey, I do a sicko segment, Jeff. So then this Gerard guy says, sarcasm or not, Vince can't turn around and tell somebody they just made it up or pulled it out of nowhere. He had to know this was out there and would be brought up. No, dude, I don't think it's that. Like, yeah. But Jeff Lane's like, they did make it up and pulled it out of nowhere. That's why he sarcastically said, yeah, they nailed that, didn't they? And then this guy says, he said Dave pulled it out of nowhere, which isn't accurate. The problem with your timeline is it wasn't Dave reporting it. It was Dave talking about what was already out there, which is true. Okay. But whether or not Dave put it in his newsletter saying like, because he may have also put a report, there's rumors out there, which like you can't hate on Dave for that. But I think Dave was just, again, we're defending Dave. Who would have thunk it? It only took 5 episodes. But I think he was just reacting to what was out there. But again, with Dave, you don't know. It's yellow journalism. You don't know what the fuck Dave's doing. He's always just making shit up. So Vince's show was posted sometime Friday night, Saturday morning before Dave went live on Saturday night. So he was going off of what was already out there from Vince himself. People don't like to deal with the facts, though. And that's totally a good fucking breakdown right there. If that was the timeline. And then Jeff Lane says whoever he got it from pulled it out of nowhere. And the video is clearly sarcasm. And you are a liar by telling everyone that it is not. You are trying to say Vince confirmed it. And that's the thing. That's where this dude did fuck up. Like you can't say Vince confirmed it. When anyone with an IQ over 50 can tell it's sarcasm based on the lie that had been going around. And then this guy's like, what do you mean whoever he got it from? He probably watched the clips just like everybody else did, etc. Jeff Lane just says, Vince did not put it out there. Do your research. Dirt sheet reporter show us those journalistic skills. It was out there way before that show with Mac. Where do you think Mac got it from to bring it up sarcastically, right? So it's just like they're just arguing over one thing, but basically it's like, is Dave at the helm of this? And then Disco pipes in, right? And so Jeff Lane's like, these idiots are seriously going with the narrative that Vince put it out there because he jokingly said, yeah, they nailed that one when the false report was brought up. Was there a report? This guy is a dirt sheet writer, so you know right there he thinks with his mark feelings and not facts. Is this guy oh my God, yeah, this guy here, Jared, follows me and is an official bodyslam.net writer. So there you fucking go. So he's arguing with a dirt sheet mark. Okay, now it's kind of cringe. It's like, bro, don't argue on behalf of sheets. As soon as you start doing that, you're just on the wrong side of shit. And it's not the wrong side of history. The wrong side of the fucking dirt sheet reporting is it's buffoonery. But Gerard says, so instead of saying, yeah, they nailed that one, even sarcastically, he could have easily denied that it was either NWA or MLW, so it would keep people guessing. This guy, so now I figured it out. This Gerard guy is likely, and show you, I don't even know you, I'm not even hating on you, but you're likely just overly invested arguing with Jeff because, did you write an article? I'm willing to bet if we go on Body Slam, this dude wrote a fucking article about it, and then it's now like, fuck. My day's work was for so Jeff Lane's like, this is what's wrong with marks like you blame the person that was lied about and not the liars because you didn't like Vince Russo's writing, so you can't separate that from real life. You're a typical mark talking with typical mark feelings. Jeff is just going off and fucking saying what Russo would say. And then Glenn Gilberti just caps it off. He goes, who actually reported it? Vince put out a tweet and a lot of people speculated on what it was because he didn't make it clear where he was working. Did anyone officially report Vince Russo working with NWA? The answer to that is nobody per Grok. So here we go here. He asked Grok. So maybe Grok knows. Dude, I was asking Grok shit about Halloween Havoc today earlier, and it was wrong. They were telling me like fucking like StarCast reports and stuff like this. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, we fell out of the bookmark rabbit hole here that we were in. But yeah, whatever. He asked Grok and the answer's none. I'm not fucking looking at Glenn Gilbert's Grok search history. But yeah, apparently he said none. Nada. So Dave Meltzer then reacts to the big swerve. Okay, and this might be based Meltzer again. I'm sorry, it might be. If he's making fun of Vince for this, because it is kind of like, do we got the trombone flop? But hey, the JCW fans loved it, which Dave would argue, well, the fans there love that. And they were all going, holy shit. And it's got people talking about JCW, and Vince Russo did get a hilarious troll off, and they sold 2K tickets, which is more than some Dynamite. So I'm just going to chalk it up to Dave is undermining Vinny Roo because JCW is going to overtake AEW. No, I'm joking. But yeah, let's listen to, and then look at this though. Whoever writes these, Vince Russo with it. That's why I always read these, right? And then I react to these first. Okay. So the headline that the Observer put out, Vince Russo with another swerve, bro. And then in quotes, wow, what a swerve. What a brilliant guy. Then in brackets, sarcasm. Like, no shit, dude. We fucking know. You're not talking to your waifu in a fucking weirdo thread on Reddit, dude. We know you're being sarcastic, obviously. It's like Dave and Bryan are they're never serious.
All right, what's up with Vince Russo?
I guess the story is that so he was on his podcast, I guess, and he talked about how he's written 9 TV shows for a group, and he didn't want to say the group, and then his co-host says, I can tell you because Conan Disco Inferno said that it was the NWA, Billy Corgan's group, and he doesn't deny it or anything. So we all think, okay, it's on his show. He's saying it's the NWA.
No, so he doesn't deny something, and then he speaks sarcastically about that something, and then you just go ahead. This is how Dave Meltzer operates, right? This is a slip. He's exposing himself here. So you just automatically assume, well, then it's obviously NWA. Like, even if you didn't report it, Dave, it just shows the way you think.
Then he comes in and goes, I fooled all you marks. It's Juggalo Championship Wrestling. It's like,
wow, what a swerve.
Hey, but they sold 2K tickets, Dave. Look at that fucking face. That's a thumbnail right there. Dave, they sold 2K tickets, though. So AEW's like, some of the attendances that they're set up for aren't even for 2K coming up. It's not even for 2K people, man. They expect to do lower than that. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to do that every week on TV, but you got to quit with the fucking pompous attitude because your favorite company is... Well, CMLL's my favorite company, Val.
Oh, what a brilliant guy.
Huh.
It's like what a weird whatever.
Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Yeah. I like that. What Shaggy I like. Is that the one?
Shaggy 2 Dope.
Shaggy 2 Dope.
I like the one of what? Oh, I like one of the ICP guys. I guess maybe some people might like that, but Insane Clown Posse's like fucking, they're a duo, bro. I like the Shaggy one. Yeah, Shaggy,
I like.
I like Scooby-Doo too.
Shaggy 2 Dope. Yeah. He used to always contact me. He was a nice guy.
All right, what's up with...
So Shaggy 2 Dope's a fucking stooge to Dave Meltzer or what? No, shout out the Juggalo, shout out JCW, whoop, whoop, woot, woot. And a glass of Faygo, a bottle of Faygo on ice. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. I have nothing to say at the end. It all speaks for itself. Based Meltzer's dumb moment of the week, maybe actually this week. Some base takes. A couple base takes. Guys, be sure to like, subscribe, share. Check me out, patreon.com/prowrestletimes. I've been Phil Marks with Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. Use hashtag DMDMW DMW. Okay, thank you all for being here with me, and until next time, I'll see you all in the upside down.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
you're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.